So we are here. We are here, and we are in the time of year when things are being decided in college football. We're getting closer to knowing who those 12 teams will be in the first 12-team playoff. We are closer to knowing who will win a lot of the major awards in college football. Obviously, Travis Hunter is still in position for the Heisman, but Cam Ward is right there nipping at his heels. Of course, Austin Junty is uh, another player that I guess we're talking about the four that will probably end up in New York. That's three of the four, and the fourth one is probably the most interesting possibility, right? I
The
think we
fourth
all
one is going to be a Canadian kid named Curtis Rourke. That is who is going to New York for the Heisman Award, and that is something that I think should happen because you look at the way that that young man has played this year, his 73.2% passer completions, etc. Yes, he did miss the one game, but I'm telling you, Curtis Rourke has played so well that he deserves to go there.
I don't even disagree with you. I would love to see that. I fear that it might be someone else. Um, Curtis Rourke is a extremely deserving person for several reasons, right? Because how much he's improved, and he was good before, but he's improved dramatically. He's an integral part of that team becoming the team that it's become. I think that he's in the fight. I think there'll be some
They go
interesting.
they get to 10-0 tomorrow because they get that school up north who are you know yeah, they've got those two big defensive tackles. That's fine. They've got Will Johnson. That's all great. But what Curtis Rourke continues to do is beat up teams, and that is going to happen again because they're home. They're home again in Bloomington. So
Yep.
I just really think Curtis Rourke has an excellent shot at it. And then when they get to play Ohio State the week before the Ohio State Michigan game, uh, I'm telling you, this Indiana team is no joke. They're not a joke. Those transfers that he brought over from James Madison are all contributing. I mean, every single one of those 13 guys are contributing, and Signetti is doing such a masterful job of running the Hoosiers.
Yep, yep. Who I like to call Google me, right? That's my little nickname for him. But he's not wrong, right? He's not
Yep,
wrong. Google it. He what does he do? He wins wherever he goes. I've
absolutely.
been following his career. This is not the third stop where I've
Yep.
followed him. He said he wins wherever he goes. He builds culture quickly. He gets players to believe in themselves and believe in him. And I think perhaps most importantly, he he really can evaluate talent. I mean, we talk about this a lot at the NFL level. We maybe don't talk about it enough at the collegiate level, where we look at the struggles that Texas A&M has had in the recent past, where the entire roster is 4 and 5 star players, but either they are not being well utilized, well coached, or they are not being well evaluated because maybe despite the 4 or 5 star rating, they aren't what people think they are. But I am excited not only about what we just talked about, obviously that game, the Michigan having to face the sturdy Hoosiers of Indiana. There's a game that would have been, I guess, in most years, the game, but a little bit of bloom or shine or whatever you want to call it is a little bit off of it, just because both Alabama and LSU are outside the top 10 at the same time. Uh, Rarely do these two teams meet where neither of them is in the top 10, at least not in the last few years, but they're both still in the top 20. And this is essentially a play-in/play-out game.
Yep.
The loser of that game will be on the outside looking in when the time comes. And the Holy War is back, right? This is one of those underrated rivalries. BYU and Utah is one of the nastiest rivalries that not enough people talk about. It
Oh, it
divides
is. It is very nasty.
it divides homes. It stresses relationships. Uh,
Yep.
people don't talk to each other for a while. People you know who go to church with each other don't talk in the sanctuary. Like it's one of the, like I said, I think it's one of the more underrated rivalries out there. It is a top 5 hate fest.
And the Utah Utes are generally the younger squad because the BYU Cougars have all these guys who go in their 2-year mission and all that jazz and then come back. So they're older guys, etc. And that's where
a lot of LDS players too. So they both have a fair number, guys in their mid-20s. And of course, the most elder of the elder statesmen, of course, is Mr. Rising himself, who I think is petitioning for another year.
Apparently, he wants to come back for year 8. Yeah, no, thank you. No, that's just enough. Enough.
I call him. My nickname for him is Doctor because I assume he must have a PhD by now. But
yeah, I mean, and the kid who's now the Miami tight end here on his 9th year,
Cam McCormick,
right?
Yeah,
McCormick. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No, we're pushing college a little too far here. If you don't already have your PhD after 9 years, you shouldn't be out there on a football field.
Yeah, I can only imagine the number of credits he must have piled up by this point. Here's a sneaky good game. Not even that sneaky, just a good game. I'll be watching excitedly. Texas Tech, which sort of stumbled around and sort of fell downstairs and slipped on soap and all kinds of things earlier in the year, looks like they might be sort of figuring out who they are. Just in time to face the Colorado Buffaloes that, I'll be honest, have exceeded my expectations. I thought they'd be better this year than last year, but they are, to me, much better this year than they were last year. And on that very happy note, I will bring on our very special guest. So, for all those who are wondering, we actually, for the first time in the history of College Football Podcast, have a flat-footed, full-on tie at the top of our FOTSR, the Friends of the Show ranking. After last week, Josh Keatley pulled into a dead-on tie with our guest, Donovan James. Now, if this goes well, Donovan may be able to reclaim sole number 1 ranking as the FOTS Friend of the Show. How are we doing tonight, Donovan?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How about you guys? You doing all right?
Yes,
doing
sir.
Well, doing well.
Yeah, welcome to one more sleep till we got a big Saturday tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Yes, we have a huge Saturday, in fact, an absolutely huge Saturday.
By the way, I love this guy's background. I have no idea.
Oh, we all love this guy's
who
background.
you are. Shout out to Greg Cowboys, though. You got a cool background. I don't know who you are, but shout out to your background. It's dope. I love it.
It is. It's an awesome background. It is maybe the best one we've ever had.
I'm definitely a Johnny Lawrence fan. Okay.
Well, it's cool because William Zabka, he never stopped acting, but like his career, sort of diverged off. He was doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and even some stuff outside of the business. It's so cool that this has reminded a whole generation of people who probably weren't familiar with him as an actor get a chance to see him, and he's a good actor and always has been.
Karate Kid, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys are gonna hate me, but I never saw the original movie until the new one came out.
Really?
Which of the new ones are you talking about? The one with Will Smith's kid?
Yeah, the one with Jaden Smith. That's when I saw the old Karate Kid.
Wow.
Well, the new one's coming out next year, but I mean, like the one from 2010. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
With Jaden Smith. Okay.
I was in high school in 20. That was my senior year of high school in 2010. So
yeah. See, Bill and I are quite a bit older than you, so we were well alive when the real Karate Kid was made, and we both saw it.
I was not born when the Karate Kid came out.
Correct.
Not yet. Not even close, really.
No, not even very close. No.
85, 84.
Yeah.
85.
Yeah.
So
that's all right.
We will, of course, eventually do a film breakdown of Karate Kid, but not tonight.
Yeah, my bad.
Tonight is not that night. No, tonight I'm going to start you off with I'm given to understand that there'll be some mint juleps consumed tomorrow, beginning at about 3:30. Well, probably before 3:30 Eastern time. We'll get to watch some of the people who've imbibed some mint juleps around that point. But one, I don't know. Have you been to this game before? The Ole Miss Georgia game before? The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, whatever.
Well, that was last week, but this is pretty much worse, yeah, or better, depending on who you are. But no, I have been to this game in Athens last year, and obviously I've been to Oxford before too,
Right.
so it's fun. And this is going to be huge, man. I actually talked to one of our Ole Miss writers, and he said this is the biggest game in his lifetime for Ole Miss.
Oh wow!
Just because, I mean, like if they win this game versus a team like Georgia, who they rarely beat in the SEC, and it's an elimination game for them. If they don't win this game, they're not in the playoffs.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's a big. His lifetime is about the same as mine. He was born in '92, so it's not as long. But still, obviously, we know how big this game is for Ole Miss and for Georgia. So yeah, it's huge. It's humongous, and it's at home. Not at night, but it will be nighttime by the end of the game. Hopefully, last game was at night under the lights in Athens, and they hung in tight for a little while, but then they got blown out. So this is kind of, I guess, a revenge game. Ole Miss just doesn't win games like this. They always lose these. So this is huge for them,
Oh, 2014 now.
Yeah.
They beat up on those Crimson Tide.
They did. I feel like
Babe.
when they win these games, though, they're not, like, going to make the playoffs or, like, the college.
Yeah.
Like, they're upset team, and they're not ranked when they win these games. So, like, this one, like, they're ranked and they got a shot for sure. Obviously, like, they've been ranked high, but I feel like they usually choke in games like this.
And since the two of us here are much older than you, we remember Archie Manning being quarterback at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
We're that old. We are that old. It's terrible.
I do quite well remember him. I remember in a game against LSU, he took off on like a quarterback sweep and almost got cut in half by a guy named Tommy Casanova, which is a great name, who was a safety for LSU at the time, and also a terrific return specialist. I think he might have led the nation in punt returns that year also.
I believe he did.
And later became a dentist and a state politician in the state of Louisiana for whatever reason. But he had a short NFL career, but a great one. I think he only spent about 5 or 6 years in the league, but I think he made All-Pro twice. But yes, we're not here to go down memory lane. We're here to talk about this game that's upcoming. So we'll go the classic. If Georgia wins, what has to happen? And if Ole Miss wins, what has to happen? So tell me what scenarios would play out that would allow Georgia to win, and then for the Ole Miss Rebels.
I'll start with Georgia because I think they're the favorite, for a reason. And now they're not big favorites or anything. I think it's 3.5 the last time I checked. I haven't checked today, so they might have moved. It might obviously move tomorrow, but they're favorite. They'll be favorite, and they're favorite for a reason. They need to. It starts with number 15, man. They cannot turn the ball over. Carson Beck's got to stop turning the ball over. It's just been horrible this year. We talked about it on the phone, Bill. The interceptions at Florida, interceptions at Texas that almost cost them the game. They overcame that because of some of Quinn's interceptions and some of just Georgia's defense has been playing lights out. They're getting healthier. They haven't really been healthy all year for the past couple of weeks. They've been healthy, though, and that's a big thing, too, is just Carson Beck taking care of the football. And then their defense, this is the best offense I think they have seen all year. Even if Trey Harris doesn't play, which I hope he does. I love seeing these teams at full strength with their guys. And I know Jackson doesn't really necessarily need Trey Harris, but he is the best receiver on their team by far to me. And he's a legit NFL prospect, and you want a guy like that playing for sure. So they got to cut down on turnovers by Carson Beck because it's really just him turning the ball over. And then defense has to just keep everything in front of them, kind of like what Kentucky did. Excuse me, when they played Ole Miss and beat them, and then and LSU as well. And another big thing for Georgia to me is to get off to a good start, man. They look good this year, but it takes them a long time to get going, man. I know Kirby's been on their ass this week a lot because no media at practice this week, and this is just a big game. Like, he feels it too. There's a little bit of pressure on them after they just underperformed. They've been squeaking by. They could easily have 3 losses right now, and they don't. And that's some of Kirby Smart's adjustments at halftime and him and Mike Bubba and what they do. But they've got to start off the game better. So that's the 3 things for them. Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, man, he's got to be Superman. I think Georgia is the better team for sure. And they might have the best player, though, with the ball in his hand every down, and that's Jackson Dart, number 2. Heisman moment for him. For sure at home. His last real big time to get in that playoff and get in that, big bowl game Matt Corral did it when they get the Sugar Bowl. He got hurt. Obviously, Luke Altmaier came in, but then Jackson Dart, he's played in some big bowl games too, but this is a big one for him. They got to win this. He's got to play like Superman, have a Heisman performance, like Cam Ward's been doing, like Shadur's been doing, and Ashton Genty and those guys. They got to take care of the ball too and not turn the ball over because you can't give Georgia the ball too many times, like Florida did and like Texas did and like these other teams did, Clemson, turning the ball over. And then the third thing to me, because those are kind of, I guess, generic and chalk, but really, Lane Kiffin, man, how does he call this game? He's one of the best play callers in the country. I can't wait to see him versus Kirby, which if you watch Game Day tomorrow, you're going to see the best person in the world break that down because he is with both of them, obviously Nick Saban. I love when Nick Saban's on Game Day talking about his old assistants, and he did it with Sarks and, Kirby, and this is kind of the same thing. I actually think this team is on offense just as good as Texas, when they're healthy, Ole Miss. So this is going to be a fun game, and it's at home, just like Texas, and they played at home too. So they got to have composure. And just play up to the level of competition, which I think they can do. But I want to see how Lane calls the game. Lane's aggressive. And you know how Lane is, man. He wants to kick everybody's ass. He's not going to kick Georgia's ass and run the score on them. But when it's 4th and 3 on his own 40, will he go for it? Or what play will he call if he does go for it? Will he give you a trick play? Because he's getting me a couple of trick plays the past couple of weeks. He's got something up his sleeve. It's Lane Kiffin. It's Lane Kiffin. We know he's got something up his sleeve. He did it last year. They had a fake punt last year at Georgia. They didn't get it. Remember that? So, that didn't cost them the game. They would have lost anyway, but that just was a huge momentum swing because it was like a bad snap, I believe, on that fake punt that messed them up, and then Georgia goes up by 21. Jackson Dart gets hurt. The rest is history. So we'll see what happens this year. I can't wait to see these coaches. I think they're 2 of the top 10 coaches in the country, so I'm excited. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most. I know game days at LSU, and that's an elimination game too, and I'm super excited about that. And if I had to pick a game, it would be to go to LSU at night because, I'm a party guy, so I like to have fun. But this Ole Miss game is going to be fun too, for sure. Do I have to pick a winner too? Do you want me to pick somebody?
Yeah, you can do that. Or you want to save it?
Yeah, I think Georgia wins this game by 1 point.
Wow. Okay.
30 to 28, so 2 points. And I think there's going to be some points. I think Georgia's defense is going to get hit on some big plays. If you their defense, obviously, I said, has gotten better from the Alabama game, but if Kiffin's going to take some of that stuff, he can do some of that stuff that Kalen DeBoer did with Alabama deep downfield. They don't have for Ryan Williams, but he can do some of that stuff with Jackson, and they still got guys. I really hope Trey Harris plays, though, man. That would be really good for Ole Miss and take the top off their defense. But like I said, we'll see. I don't. Oh, I guess is he? Yeah, I guess he is playing. He's questionable still. Looks like he is playing though.
He was at practice this week, so I'm
Okay.
assuming that he plays, right? Is Trevor Etienne going to be able to lead the Bulldogs ground game?
Yeah, that's a big one too. I think so. I think he can have a bounce back game. Last week was
no. The bounce back is going to be something because Ole Miss's rush defense is 4 yards ahead of Indiana in terms of yards given up on the ground this year.
Yeah, I think they're the number 1 in the country, I believe. Right?
They are number 1.
Yeah.
They are number 1.
He doesn't have to run the ball like that. I'm not asking him to have even 80 yards, 100 yards, or anything like that. I'm asking him to, when it's 3rd and 1, man, can we rely on you? Because they've had to rely on Carson Beck. And they've put, I think, more on Carson Beck than they thought they were going to have to do. And because they can't run the ball consistently. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is not the defense to really bounce back per se. But when I say bounce back, I just mean, can you get it on 3rd and 1?
Yeah.
Can you get those big plays like that? I think that's the guy you want to go to, obviously. I still think I've said this all year. It's kind of weird. Nate Frazier is the most consistent back on the team, even though he's a true freshman. I've been watching Nate Frazier since he was a kid, obviously, covering high school football in Southern California. But Nate Frazier, the true freshman from Mater Dei, can you get him on little screens, Can he get the 3rd and 1s and pick up some stuff? And he has been able to do that most of the year. So we'll see. Cash Jones, you might have to use him too. So And it's next man up. You know how Kirby is, but it's
And
no one's running for 100 yards on this team. I don't believe tomorrow. They might have to do it collectively for sure.
can the Bulldogs' offensive line keep Walter Nolan away from Carson Beck?
Walter Nolan's a beast, man. It's a first round pick.
Yep.
I've always liked Walter Nolan. Yeah, I mean, I think they can. It's going to be tough, but this is a good O-line. That's like the deepest position I think they're well, D-line too, but just in the trenches. So you would love to see Tate Rutledge, come back and be healthy. You know what I mean? But yeah, Walter Nolan's a beast, man. He's probably going to get his. You know what I mean?
And even if he's causing pressure on Beck under pressure has been very fallible this season, as we know by the 11 interceptions.
Been shaky, yeah, for sure, under pressure. And then, like I said, Rutledge is, guy that just the ankle injury is just nagging, him a lot. He's been hurt since the week before Alabama. I forgot who they played. I can't remember, but I mean, he's been hurt for a while. And I love Tate Rutledge. I'm a big Tate Rutledge guy. He's a top 50 prospect to me when he's healthy, and number one mullet in the country, possibly. I don't know if you've seen that dude's lettuce, man, but he's got some good hair. But yeah, they're gonna have to stop Walter Nolan for sure. He's one of the best players, one of the top 5 players probably on the field for sure in this game. So, but I got Georgia by 2. I think it's 30-28. I think Carson Beck's he's gonna throw a pick for sure, but I think he limits his turnovers to maybe just 1. And I think they might get Jackson. You gotta watch out for Georgia's D-line too, though, because they create pressure, man, for sure. And they can do it from anywhere. And Malachi Starks is special to me. Number 1 safety in the class. And just, I mean, I think he's like a top 10 pick. I know safeties don't get drafted high, and you guys are better NFL guys than me, I'm sure. And he's probably not going to go in the top 10, but he's a top 10 prospect. Safeties just don't go that high, I know, but he's so good to me.
Well, there
was a little bit smaller.
There was a draft. There was a draft yesterday that was on YouTube and Xavier Watts and Malachi Starks were both picked in the top 15, and it's just like, what planet is this guy on? Because
I mean, Starks can play corner too, I guess, but like he's a safety to me. But
yeah, he's gonna be playing safety in the NFL. That's there's no doubt about it. Just as Xavier Watts is going to play safety in the NFL as well. But to get 2 guys picked in the top 15 at that position is just shocking.
Unless somebody moved up, I guess that probably is not going to happen. Xavier Watts is really good too. I had seen him a little bit, and he's really good too. I would definitely not say he would go top 15. It would be Starks, I would say, over kid from Notre Dame. But yeah,
I still have. I mean, both of them could be picked later in round 1, but I don't see them going top 15. Right? I just don't see either one going top 15.
I don't either.
Because that position just isn't drafted like that in the NFL. It just isn't.
It's not. I mean, yeah, because Kamari Ramsey too. Now he's really young. I don't know if he's going to come out, but I mean, I've seen him pretty high as well. I see him, and he's another guy that used to play corner. Now he plays safety full time. He's definitely a safety, but
yeah,
Kamari Ramsey also a redshirt sophomore, so I don't know. He might come out though. Kind of is what I'm understanding, hearing more so that he's not probably going to come back, but we'll see.
I think he'd be better off sticking around another year.
I do too. He's had some games where he looks like he is definitely a first-round pick to me, but there's some games that he still looks young. He's young. He is young. He's a redshirt sophomore. Yeah, even though he has started, this is his second year starting, so he does have a pretty good amount of experience to be, that young, but still young.
So before we turn our attentions to sort of the whip around, you mentioned the game where game day is going to be located. Let's spend a little time on, you mentioned, this is a game that would have been the marquee game of marquee games in many other seasons, the Saban Bowl. So what do you think is going to turn the tide, if you'll let me use that expression, in that game, LSU versus Alabama, Donovan?
Yeah, I mean, the game's huge still. Just like I said, elimination game. No, they're not making the playoffs if you lose this. This is huge. What LSU's been able to do since they, lost to USC in week 1 has been huge. And obviously Alabama hasn't played well, but they still got the dudes on their team to win this game. This one's a little bit tougher to me. like I could have picked Georgia by a little bit more, but I didn't. I think I respect Ole Miss and Kiff, but this one's tough, man. Yeah, it's gonna be electric. Like obviously, LSU night game and this rivalry game, and how good these games have been over the past 15, 20 years. But Kyron Lacey, I'm just looking for the stars to show up in this game. Like what quarterback can take care of the ball the best, Nussmeier or Jalen? So those guys, and Kyron Lacey, Ryan Williams, the stars. Like I'm looking for those guys because this game is so even to me that it's gonna have to be. I mean, that Georgia-Alabama game, like, I don't think if Ryan Williams makes that play, like, they win that game. And I don't think, like, if Carson Beck didn't play, people have been crapping on him the whole year. But, like, if he doesn't play that well in the second half, they have no chance to even be in that game. Or they led for, like, a minute when they came back, like, literally a minute. But, so, yeah, it's going to come down to those guys, the stars. What can they do? Mason Taylor, who I'm a big fan of. I've watched him a lot lately. So, but I think LSU loses this game, actually, at home, which is crazy. I know they are favorite as well. Do think LSU loses this game. I think Jalen makes too many plays with his legs, and they win this game. Think Kalen DeBoer can kind of sigh a little bit. You know what I mean? Because this is outside of the national championship last year, the biggest game he's coached to me. Because I mean, just 3 losses is tough, and they still have some more to go. In their schedule, even if they do win or lose this game. But it's going to be tough, man. This is not – this spread's 3. Alabama's favorite? Are they favorite? I don't know if I'm reading this wrong. Well, 3 is where I have it, though. So that's about right for me.
I mean, that's just that a 3-point spread on the –
yeah, Alabama is their favorite. Over under is 58.5. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game. That over under, man, I was gonna push that. Oh, they got me. Vegas got me. I should have went. I should have looked at that early in the week. But yeah, because I think a lot of points would be scored in this game. I still think it's over though. I mean, this game could go to overtime for sure. But I'll probably say like 35-31, Alabama. It'll be similar to like the Vandy game, kinda like. Where there was just nobody can stop anybody. But Alabama just was so far behind they couldn't catch up and get it going. But they got to stop with the penalties, though. So the biggest thing for me is they had 15 penalties on the road in Knoxville at night, which was similar-ish environment to this. Obviously, that place is rocking and loud, too. 15 penalties won't cut it versus LSU. They're too good. Nussmeier is balling right now. And Kyron Lacey looks like another line at first-round LSU receiver possibly. So they got guys. Their O-line's great with those 2 bookend tackles, Will Campbell, and you know what I mean. So, yeah, I mean, LSU's talented, but I think Alabama can win this game. And D-line, I mean, there's just so much talent, man. I mean, I'm looking at all these guys I looked at in high school. They're in this game. There's like 30 of them, you know what I mean? So I'm excited to see how this plays out. This game's always fun. The atmosphere's great. Man, I wish I was in Baton Rouge. It's going to be a good weekend. Everybody's back, man. Shaq's back. OBJ's there. Like, yes. Everybody's there. There's so many people there. Angel Reese is there. Like, Flaugier, like, everybody. Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens, guest pickers tomorrow. Right. My favorite celebrity couple.
They are your favorite celebrity couple.
But yeah, I got LSU, though. Or, excuse me, Alabama. Over LSU.
Alabama, okay. Yeah. Greg, any questions you have about this game or anything, comments you have about this game before we move on to our next one?
Well, I'm going to disagree with Donovan on both these games. I'm sorry. I think Ole Miss beats Georgia, and I think LSU, because they are in Baton Rouge, which is an ancestral part of my family. I have Cajun blood in me. So even though I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan, because I am also a Notre Dame guy, that's my school. I think Brian Kelly actually gets it.
I can see him going either way, man. Like I know we disagree on these games, but I had it 1 by 2 and 1 by 4, so I could definitely see him go. Now, the Georgia game it's not a lock to me, but I trust them more than I trust Alabama. My Alabama pick for sure, like for obvious reasons, as we've watched this year. But yeah, I could see it going either way, for sure.
Yeah,
for these games.
That's just the way I just see these two games is the two home teams. Ole Miss is just so damn tough to run against. And if they cause any fumbles, quick turnovers, Jackson Dart hits, bang, you're done. And LSU, Garrett Nussmeier has been a far better quarterback than Jalen Milroe has been all year. He is moved up the rankings to I think Mel Kiper had him up to 5 this week, 5 or 6 this week. But in my books, Garrett Nussmeier has been a top 5 quarterback in the country, and he's at home. And when he's playing in front of those crazy Bayou Bengal fans, look out.
Yeah, he's at home. He's been a different quarterback.
Yeah.
He can't play like he did, obviously, versus the Aggies, because that was. I mean, he didn't play horrible, but he just made those throws, man. He had 3 picks, right? So
Yep.
I mean, no one of them wasn't his fault, I know, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, you gotta, make those plays. But Nussmeier's great. Been a big fan of Garrett since high school too, and he's gotten so much better. Because when I was talking to Bill about him, like I would not have ever thought he would be up here with these top quarterbacks, because he just didn't have it to me like that. He was just kind of one of those quarterbacks that I was like, Camp Orm, he'll be around for a little bit, coaching somewhere. But now I'm like, oh damn, he's really good. He's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I just think a lot of those 5 and 4-star guys and things like that. Some of that's just because some guys mature physically before the guys do, and then a guy who we all tell the stories about guys like Aaron Charles Rodgers and guys like even Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. were guys that physically matured a little later. If a guy like Stafford, looked like an NFL quarterback as an 18-year-old, right?
Yes,
He,
100%. Yeah,
I mean, not everybody does that. John Matthew Stafford matured physically ahead of some other guys. So that's sometimes why a guy like Nussmeier though he's not a little guy, he didn't look as much like an NFL guy at 17.
Yeah, I was at Elite 11 when he was there. He was a little guy. Like, you can say it, Bill. It's okay. And he's still not huge like you said, but he's he was we had him at like 6 foot, like 183, I think. Yeah, 6 foot 183. Which he's still like 6'2", like 215, 210 right now. So he's not huge. But like you said, like it's just the arm strength. Like his arm has gotten so much. He was like a dink and dunk guy in high school. Like
right.
Well, his legs are a lot bigger and stronger than what he was in high school as well. His legs, because the legs give you the drive.
His lower body is huge. Yeah,
that's a good
call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
I know, because a guy like hypothetically, like I interviewed a lot in high school. I think we had him on your show, Bill, Miles Brennan, because they came in together. Well, Miles was there before, but whatever. Miles was so skinny, like he was like 6'3.5", but he was like 185, but he never really got too much bigger, and he was so small, like lower frame. But yeah, Garrett's a thickly built quarterback, honestly. Yep. So yeah, and obviously we're in your LSU weight room. You're gonna. And you know what? Like, I know Coach Kelly gets held, but like, I like him. Like, I don't like him as like a person necessarily, like in an interview, but like, I think he's a good coach. Like, he can win this game. Like, he's won big games. Like, I don't know where this thing with like he doesn't win big games like comes from. Like, they lost. Like, who's that Notre Dame? They're losing to Bama, dude. Like, they're not gonna beat Alabama. They're not gonna do it now, or they're not gonna do it then either. So, like, it's okay, dude. Like, he's a good coach.
So these are obviously sort of marquee games and things like that, but there's other games being played for those who are wondering. And I'm going to put the Miami Hurricanes on semi-upset alert. I think they'll survive Georgia Tech, but I will not be surprised if like 8 minutes, 23 seconds into the third quarter, they're down by 3, right? First of all, Miami doesn't dominate certain teams the way that you think they would. They escape a lot. They've been sort of like the Kansas City Chiefs this year, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're undefeated. That's cool, but they put a little scare in you at some point again in certain games. But let's walk through the Miami and Georgia Tech game a little bit. Obviously, you're very familiar with both teams, and of course, you've lived in not far from Georgia Tech's campus at various points. What do you think of the keys to that game, and who do you think prevails, and how will this game maybe even affect the Heisman Trophy race?
ultimate key to this game is simple for me for Georgia Tech. Haynes King has to play. If he doesn't play, they're not going to win. They're probably still not going to win, but if he does not play, they're not going to win this game. He just does too much for this offense. He's too vital for it. And I know they got some guys, behind that are pretty good, but they have to have these guys play, man. Chad Alexander, Jamal. I mean, like, they have to have their guys. They're already – Miami's a better team than them. Play better all season. They're better on paper. So they got to have Hayes. But he's 2% completion percentage and just take care of the football for the most. I think it was 1 interception the whole year. So if they have to go with Philo and Pyron, 2 quarterback system, they're not going to win this game. But like you said, Miami is on Sailor every week because they almost lose every week. I really thought they were going to lose to Duke last week. And I don't know how they won that game by like 3 scores because they were down by so much, so late. But Cam Ward's my Heisman Trophy winner right now. And he's special. Like, we have Cam Ward, you don't. Like, that's how they've been playing, really. They've been getting lucky as hell. But they feel like Cristobal deserves it. As unlucky as he's been. This is like good karma. I don't know what he did in his personal life or whatever, but he's got a lot of luck. I don't think they'll need as much luck this week. Now, I'm not saying they'll win by a lot or anything. Even if those guys don't play, Miami might just mess around because their defense is so bad. But I will say, man, they probably put up like 41 to like 28. But I think it'll be like closer than like the score indicates. Like, it's going to be, they'll hang around. It might even be like 21 to 41. But like, it's, if you watch the game, you'll be like, oh, that game was like a little bit closer. But yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech should be able to score. They got to obviously keep Cam Ward off the field. That's their best, defense is, a good offense, but I just don't see it. I don't see an upset. Even in Atlanta, don't see it. But, I mean, if that happens and it's 3:30 and Georgia Tech wins, I'm not going to be shocked because it's college football in 2024. Right. But I would definitely pick Miami to win this game.
Yeah, I largely agree. I think that's even the score you threw out there is probably about right. I feel like Miami will let them hang around for a while, especially if King plays. But even if King doesn't play, like I say, they don't blow people out. Like they with a couple of exceptions, no matter who you are, you get to hang around. You get to play with Miami for a while before they finally get their act together. What say you, Greg?
Well, I agree. And thank you for not having Travis Hunter as your Heisman Trophy winner. Thank you very much, Donovan, because he's not a Heisman Trophy winner. I'm sorry.
He's my number. He's 2 for me.
Oh, no. Ashton Genty is number 2.
He's 3. He's my 3rd guy. But all 3 of them they could go to either of them 3. And then there's like Jackson Dart and Nussmeier are close, but they're like far close.
Oh, no. The 4th guy that's going is Curtis Rourke. I'm sorry. He's going. He's going to the Heisman.
I hope so. That'd be great. I don't think he actually is, but
that'll be another mistake.
I think he's going to be on the. I think he'll be on the ballot, but I don't know if he's going to.
Yeah.
I think only like 3 or 4 guys are going to go. They're not going to send. I think like if the season ended right. The season
4 guys
now,
go.
I think
4 guys go to New York.
4. Yeah. I mean, he could. He's in the mix for sure. It's Ohio State. Like, people have been talking about Indiana all year. I'm like, I don't care what they do until they play Ohio State because I don't know how good this team actually is. Like, I know they're good, but like the national media doesn't know. They're not going to take them seriously to play Ohio State.
Okay.
Well, I don't agree with that. I'm just saying
as I said earlier, Ole Miss is number 1 against the run. Indiana is number 2.
I know they're good. Their schedule is just so bad. Their SOS is like 104. They play Michigan tomorrow, though. Michigan,
yes,
run. All they do is run.
Let's stay with that game. Let's stay with that game. So this is another one of those games where Indiana gets to maybe earn some respect. What do you think of the keys to this game, Donovan?
I actually wrote an article on the keys of this game, so it's perfect.
Well, it's a great time to, shameless plug time. Good. Get it up. Do it.
Yeah, shout out to Hoosier State of Mind over on Fansided. So, yeah, read some work there for sure that I'm doing. And Brock, too. Not yet. I don't think he's written an article yet, but he will soon. The key, Will Johnson just is out. He should probably just not play the rest of the year because he's a top 10 pick. I just would shut it down if I was him at this point because Michigan's not playing for anything. I mean, a bowl game, I guess, but he won't play in that anyway, so it doesn't matter. Or come back for Ohio State, I guess. You want to beat them. But anyway, he's out. Indiana's going to win this game. It's not going to be close. Michigan's not that good. They started off the season pretty good. The USC win was impressive at the time. Now it's not. So they really haven't done much. They still have some guys. Love Colson Loveland. That's tight end one. Want to see what Edwards does and Mullings. And they're going to run the rock. They don't have a choice. Davis Warren starting at quarterback. You'll see some Alex Orji. Jack Tuttle obviously retired. Former Hoosier, former Ute. But yeah, Indiana wins this game. Like you mentioned, they're number one against the run, which, I mean, they probably will give up the most rushing yards they've given up all year, which won't be much still. But, Michigan can run the ball really well. They've got a good front. But this game won't be that close. They're 14.5-point favorite for a reason. I honestly could see them winning by more at home. Just because, I mean, Cignetti doesn't care. Like, he just wants to beat your ass, and he will do it. And they probably need some style points. Like, they're going to make the playoffs, to me. I think it was like 76.5% FPI. But, again, they are the only team outside of the top 15 with the SOS out of the top 50, I believe. So they got to just start beating people's ass. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what they've been doing. So it's a good thing they won by so much, because if they were winning this game by like 2 and 3 points, like, I mean, no one would take them serious. I take them serious, but like, there's still people questioning Cignetti and this program, which I don't understand. Curtis Rourke's great, like you said, Heisman candidate. I know he missed one game, but he's still in the Heisman race to me. And I love Taven Jackson too, man. He's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Backup quarterback. I don't love him to be a starter, but he's a good backup to have just in case, Rourke, is out with a finger or something. But no, I mean, I had this game 34-17 actually. But I didn't know Will Johnson was out yet. So I would probably say, man, like 42-17 now. I think Indiana's going to score. And they're so balanced. Like, I love watching them. Like, I really, really start taking them serious when that Nebraska game. Like, I had watched them all year. And I was like, okay, they're undefeated. But that Nebraska, it was, the teams that have to play these big noon kickoff games when you have, like, College Game Day there and the big new kid, like, I want to see, can you handle that hype and success? And like, it just seems to not phase these guys. Like, they're an older veteran group too, like a bunch of guys at James Madison that have won so many games. Like, I just didn't know if it would translate over, and obviously they're just so good. Like, it doesn't matter where they play.
That's why I think November the 23rd is going to be a huge, huge test for the Buckeyes, because these guys are veterans. They've been in big games before. The Buckeyes are not going to scare the Hoosiers this year, and the Hoosiers played them well last year as well.
They did, and that team was nowhere near as good as this.
Nowhere near as good as what this team is.
I mean, that game, sadly, is probably going to be at noon because the Big Ten is horrible with their timing of games. I hate it so much. I feel so bad for my friends that are like, yeah, I haven't watched Indiana because they start at 9 a.m. Like, I'm like, yeah, I know. I feel bad for you. Like, I live on the East Coast at least in Florida, so like, I'm awake and everything. But I would love to see a night game versus Ohio State and Indiana, but it's not gonna be. It's gonna be at noon. But it's cool. I was loving that noon game versus Nebraska. This game's at 3:30, so it's cool. Even Michigan State, they impressed me because Michigan State's got some guys. I know they're not good, but like, they impress because they're just so dominant. And yeah, I mean, that Ohio State game's gonna be fun. I can't, and I'm not gonna make a prediction on that yet because it's way too early. I don't know who's gonna be playing and hurt and this and that, but it's gonna be close. Like, and I can already tell you, I think the spread will probably be in double digits because like they'll just be on Ohio State. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
Like, if betting, like, they're gonna probably open at like 11 and a half. And I don't know.
Should last week's game have not been the whiteout game though? Should that not have been moved to the nighttime?
Yes, that should be the night whiteout game, 100%. 100%.
It really annoyed me that Fox said no. That's BS. And it does the Indiana Ohio State game get moved to NBC?
Oh, that would be great, actually.
And then that's a night game. That becomes
that becomes a night game. 7, yeah, it'd be a 7. 7:30 game. Yeah.
I mean, that's what should happen.
I would love that. You need to talk to whoever is in charge of that and get that going, because that would be fantastic for sure. I love that to be in. And I mean, I'm sure like Keeley and those guys, he's going to be at that game. And that's a guy that I know you just said I'm trying to catch up with him. Well, Keeley's great, man, because Keeley has been on Indiana since the beginning of the season. And that was one of the games. We went over the Ohio State schedule in preseason. He circled that game. And I don't think anyone knew Indiana would be this good, even if you believed in Signetti. Like 9-0, dude, number 9 in the country. Like, there's no way no one in Indiana media thought that. But I know he was like 8-4, 9-3 team. Even I was like, that's a lot of wins for Indiana, dude. This is Indiana.
They were wrongly ranked this week. They were wrongly ranked because, again, it's not a football school. It's not a traditional school. They're a basketball school and all this other jazz, and it's just utter nonsense that Indiana is not at least 7 in the country.
Well, I'm glad they're in, because Feinbaum didn't have them in the top 12. So if he was up, it was up to him. If it was up to him, they wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Well, that's just another clown who only understands what he knows about the schools, and that's it. That's all.
He does love Signetti, though. He said it's not a beef against him. He loves him, but he was like, they just don't deserve it.
Yeah, but Feinbaum is always a guy who writes off Notre Dame every year, no matter what. Blah blah blah.
Oh, you got some personal beef.
I have a personal beef with Feinbaum.
He does hate Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and most of these guys out there do hate Notre Dame as well. That's just the bottom line of that. It disgusts me, because all the Irish do is they'll go and play an SEC school whenever they want to play them. They'll play every Big Ten school that wants them. They go up against the ACC every year. I mean, next year they're going to have Boise State come to town. They play anybody, anytime, anywhere, and that doesn't get any respect from all these other clowns out there. I don't care whether Notre Dame wins a national championship or not, but you give them their credit.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely give. And Bill can attest to this. He's known me for a while. Even being a USC guy, and like I'm supposed to hate, and I live in the South, and they hate. That's like probably the most hated team here for sure. But I always respected Notre Dame, in their program and what they've done. You know what I mean? And just for one, that place is beautiful. I went to Georgia versus Notre Dame a few years ago, and I love that place. Now it's tough getting into, but it was a tough drive from Atlanta and then flying. Some of my friends had to fly. They flew in Chicago and everything, but it's all right. But no, I like that campus. Is beautiful, good program. I love Coach Freeman. So yeah, I'm still pissed off. Jimmy Clausen wasn't good. Bill knows that. That's my guy. So we can, Greg. You're gonna have to follow each other so we can talk about Jimmy Clausen.
Yes. Jimmy was just so disappointing.
I know. I was in high school in California at the same time as him. He's older than me, but I looked up to that guy. Like, he was a hero for us, because I was like, I've never seen anyone this good at football in my life. Oh my! I was like a freshman. He was a senior, I think. So
right.
But yeah.
Anyway. But when he went to South Bend, all that stuff that he learned in California went out the window. It just went out. It just did. He was so disappointing.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a little bit of an entitled punk also, but that's the whole other. That's 100%. Not what we're going to talk about. But I've heard some stuff. Let's spend some time on some of the other games, and I will stop trashing Jimmy Clausen. Not even trashing, just I heard things. Chicago is not that far from.
We all have. And that's why I said everything he learned in California left him when he went to South Bend, because it just left.
Hey, it's tough growing up in Westlake Village, man.
Oh yeah,
going to
the mean streets, streets of Westlake.
That was always I'm sorry, I never moving on. That was always my beef with Jimmy. Is that I'm like, bro, you grew up in He had so hard all the time. I'm like, dude, you grew up in Westlake Village, and he went to Oaks Christian. Like, you didn't go to Westlake Village High School. Like, you went to, like, Oaks Christian. But anyway, whatever. You're not hard, bro. Like, you're not that
No.
Well, his eyes showed other reasons why, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, a game that fascinates me, and I was a little bit heartbroken when this game wasn't played for a few years. I'm so glad it's back. The Holy War, Utah BYU going to Utah. A 10:15 p.m. game if you're on Eastern time, so it's very much a night game. And
That's late.
yes, so BYU is a team that has exceeded some people's expectations. And you and I briefly discussed Jake Retzlaff. I'm a big Jake Retzlaff guy. I think Retzlaff is who some people thought Connor Wegman is, right?
Yes,
Jake Retzlaff
yes,
is actually who you
yes.
thought Connor Wegman is, people.
That's such a good, yeah.
So turn your attentions from Connor Wegman. Like if you still have Connor Wegman in your top 5 or 6 quarterbacks, stop doing that and watch more Jake Retzlaff. And I have some other guys who suggest you as well. But
If you had Connor Wegman in your top 5 at all this year, which I've seen out there, you do not understand how quarterbacks are supposed to play this game. You really don't. I'm sorry.
Or they just haven't watched enough quarterbacks. They've only watched 5 quarterbacks. Maybe that if that's the case, then I could excuse it. But take us through this game in your opinion. And have you ever been to this game before, Donovan, in your travels?
I've never been to this game. Oh, is this game in BYU or Utah though?
It's being played in Utah this year.
Oh, okay, it's in Salt Lake.
Salt Lake, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Salt Lake. Not for this game, but I've been there too. Yeah, I mean, at night, tough. Even doesn't matter if they're 4-4. At night, tough. I've actually had 2 Cal players there. Obviously, one my cousin, you know pretty well, Bill, and then another Cal player tell me the toughest place they ever played was this place at night. And they went to a lot of places when they were in Cal. Right. You know, at Texas, this and there, Oregon, blah, 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 USC. They said Salt Lake was the toughest, loudest. Just fans are just up. Like they start there, it's sold out, obviously, and they never stop yelling. It never gets dull. Even when they're down, they still go in. So this game would be big. This is kind of a spoiler game. Utah's had a tough season with all the injuries and everything, and just tough breaks. BYU has just kind of been hanging on. I mean, I still can't believe they won that Oklahoma State game. They had no business winning that, but that's your boy Jake. He did it on that last drive. That run he had down the sideline to get him 34 yards was insane. That's what won him the game. But yeah, this is the Holy War, one of the most underrated rivalries in the country. A rivalry dear to my heart. You know, growing up where I grew up on the West Coast, this is always huge, especially LDS. My LDS fam where I grew up. You know, this is their Super Bowl for sure. So, this game is tough to pick, man, because I obviously like they're undefeated and ranked in the top 12 for a reason. I think they're number 9, if I'm not mistaken. BYU.
Yeah.
I think Utah wins.
I
think Utah wins. It's going to be a funky game.
Who starts for you, quarterback? Is it going to be Isaiah?
I think you have to go with Isaac Wilson at quarterback. I think you got to go. I think he gives you the best chance to lose and win. Just kind
of he does. That's a good way to put it. He gives you the best chance to lose and win. That is the best.
I like Isaac. I mean,
miniature scouting report on Isaac Wilson I've ever heard.
you know, I'm close to that kid and his family, Zach and those guys.
Right.
Interviewed him a lot of times in high school. I like Isaac. He's got to just the turnovers. I mean, we've talked about this in every game. I feel like we've covered. I mean, I didn't even talk about it in the Michigan game because I don't think they have a shot. But I mean, Davis Warren needs to stop turning the ball over as well. That would help them keep it close versus Indiana. But this is the same thing. I mean, this kid's talented, man. Isaac Wilson. He is highly rated, guy for a reason. Utah Gatorade State Player of the Year. Polynesian Player of the Year too last year. So yeah, he's really good. But he's turned the ball over a lot, and his completion percentage is horrendous. So
it's horrendous, right?
He makes plays though. I love the way he moves. I mean, he's a mini Zach Wilson. I know it's his brother, but like they play really similar. Like the way he can move around the pocket. He's smaller, but I think he's a little bit more athletic than him. The way he moves around the pocket, I like. He can extend plays. Both quarterbacks can do that. But Isaac's just got to take care of the ball, and he's got to stop playing like he's Josh Allen, dude. He's not that big, and he's not that talented either. So I love the toughness he has and how he'll try to go get you those 2 yards, but you don't have to do that every time. He plays like you're playing Madden, with your athletic quarterback just running around in circles until somebody gets open. Like he's just a video game quarterback in like the worst and best way possible. Is all I can say.
Isaac needs to come up to Canada to play football after his college days are over. I'm sorry. That's
well, he's got a long way to go. He's 18, so I won't say that yet. But he's got 4 years left. Yeah.
No, I don't see him. I don't see him ever being considered as an NFL type quarterback. I really don't.
Okay. Well, they ever? That's okay. That's a little bold.
That's strong stuff, Greg.
It is. But what I've seen of him is, like you said, he plays this game like he's on Madden.
Yes,
he does. But I just, I think me and Bill talked about it. I think that's something in these quarterbacks from Canyon Corner High School, man, because Jackson Dart, Zach Wilson, like they all play like that. They all went to the same high school. They all fought. Hellman Kasuga's next, by the way. He's going to be great going to Texas A&M. He might start next year, possibly. But they all kind of play this way. He's the worst out of it, though. But I think we would say the same about Zach Wilson when he got to play early on. Like you wouldn't have thought that guy was a NFL quarterback, and now he was a top 10 pick. Like so. It's early, but he's got to tighten it up. And he's not going to be on the Utah team any longer. That's the thing. Like, this is not a Winningham-style quarterback at all. I think with Isaac, he had so much upside. This was like a perfect thing for this roster because they missed on Zach Wilson. They didn't offer him. Yeah. So, or they did, but it was super late, so whatever. So the whole story. He didn't get offered. So he goes here. Isaac, he plays early. Obviously wasn't expected to play, but he's got to play better. You're right. He can't be playing this herky-jerky style of football. But
his game reminds me of the CFL, though. I mean, he can go running wild up here in the CFL. I'm telling you, this big field. I mean, he would have a lot more fun than he'd ever will in the U.S.
Well, right. I mean, he's got to calm down his Kyler Murray on airplane glue playing style. I think is what everyone sort of has stated or agreed that's got to change. You got to slow it down, speed up his mind, slow down his body, and you might have a chance.
Yeah, I wish, not wish, I guess for Utah's sake, with Byron Barnes had stayed. Now he ended up transferring to Utah State, but he was their backup last year. And you see when he came in, they kind of were. Bill always told me this. I listened to Bill. Your quarterback can just go like 2-2 as a backup and not make mistakes. That's okay. Like that's what Bryson Barnes was last year. I think he went like 2-2, 3-2 for this team last year when Cam Rising got hurt. And he's a veteran. He's 24. Like didn't make many mistakes. He ends up going to Utah State. Across the way, so he's not there anymore. And Isaac Wilson's their big time recruit, but I mean, he's just not playing well. But he's played well this season. I'm not like dogging him. It's just that I thought he would play better than this, honestly, because he knew he was probably gonna be the number 2 quarterback in play. That was part of his reasoning for even going to Utah because he was gonna play right away. 1 year Rising and then leave. And Isaac Wilson starts for 3 years. Now, I mean, he's kind of fighting for his job. He might not be at Utah next year. Like I said, he's got to play better. That's all there is to it, for sure. But like I said, he's 18. He's young. We'll see what happens. But he's got to cut down turnovers.
The Utes defense just isn't as strong as they were last year either.
Right.
They weren't. I mean, Isaac might not play the full game. They might have to go, to the other quarterback. I can't think of the other quarterback. It's right now. I'm drawing a blank.
Well, speaking
of Sam Hewitt, the backup. Sam Hewitt, the backup.
I think so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Damon right. Hewitt's son. Yeah, he was another big time.
Another feel-old moment, but yes, right.
Is that Damon's son?
I believe that's Damon's son.
Damon's son.
Yeah,
right.
That's Damon Hewitt's son. Yeah, Damon's
son.
Yeah, he's not good at all, though. Not Damon Hewitt. He's fine. I didn't really watch him. But Sam Hewitt is not good at football. I mean, he got benched at Cal Poly last year.
Right.
And ends up, at Washington, he didn't make it. And then now he's at Utah. And he's kind of I think he's going to be a grad assistant next year. He's a coach. He's going to be a coach.
There you go. He is, since I'm doing this, I guess I'll do it again. He is what people thought Garrett Nussmeier would be.
Yeah, man, you're good at this. That's so true.
Pretty much.
But speaking of teams that have had to play without a star quarterback, And Greg, you may want to plug your ears for the next few seconds. But the Black Knights of the Hudson, an undefeated.
Oh, that horrifying place. That is an
undefeated.
awful place. Come on now.
Hey, by the way, BYU's only favored by 3 in this game. There's a reason for that.
As you said, it's a hard place to play football. I mean, night games in Salt Lake City is how you. Once again, it's another test of how much you like playing football. But Army, of course, was last week without Bryson Daly. Speaking of people who might end up being invited to New York, I'm half joking, but obviously, Air Force did not put up much resistance. I won't say any of the Air Force jokes that popped in my head, but
come on, they're always fun.
What my guys used to call the was the CIU, civilians in uniform. But that's it. Enough of that. Now we'll move on. So even without Bryson Daly, they were able to really do everything they wanted to do against Air Force. Now they're going to go up with a more talented, at least more talented than Air Force North Texas team. Bryson Daly possibly might be able to play. North Texas defense is not very good, so if he does play, I think that they'll cover. If Daly doesn't play, I still think they win, but they might not cover. Dwayne Coleman is a solid player, but he's no Bryson Daly. Bryson Daly is one of those players that elevates above the level of the scheme. But the spread at the moment is 4.5. And I think it's because they don't know who's going to be playing at quarterback. So you might want to lay the 4.5 and then hope Bryson Daly suits up. But I'm not here to give you advice about gambling. I'm going to let Donovan do that.
Yeah, that game's true. I haven't touched that one because Bryson Daly, last time they said was on the wrong side of questionable on Wednesday, but now it's Friday, so I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the updates, but I feel like he's going to play. Army's got a lot to play for still. Obviously, they're undefeated, so. But, this game's tough, man. I really could see North Texas winning. Chandler Morris, those guys, and they can score. Their defense is horrible. But talk about points. Talk about another dominant team. Army, man, they've covered the spread almost every game this year, actually.
Yes, sir.
But that's the team you want to bet on more than anybody. Indiana and Army, the 2 best teams covering spreads the whole season. Well, who would have thought that? Right? But I gotta see Bryson Daly play, man. If he doesn't play, I think they're gonna lose too. I could see 2 upsets. This is gonna be a week where I have BYU losing and I have Army winning right now, but if he's not 100%, he's not gonna be 100%. But if he's not playing, I would probably take the Mean Green in the upset. Well, their offense just struggled last week, man. Army, he's one of the most top. He's probably one of the most top 10 most important players in the country. You might not think he's a top 10 player overall, obviously, NFL draft wise, but just MOP, most important. He's top 10 to me for sure, and he is on the Heisman ballot for sure.
He should be.
But Chandler Morris leads the nation in passing yards per game.
Yep.
You know, so. He's been good. I love that he found a home because I like Chandler Morris coming out of high school. He's always undersized, really, really small guy, but he was kind of a big time recruit. He's definitely over recruited because of his dad, or overvalued because of his dad, not over recruited. Right. But he found a spot where he probably should have been all along.
Well, the Mean Green is third in the nation in offense, and the Army defense is number 5 overall.
Yeah,
so that's the matchup to me. Whether Bryson Daly plays or not, that's the real matchup to me is the Army defense holding up against the Mean Green offense.
Yeah, that they got to stop Chandler Morris's legs and his arm too, because that kid is athletic as hell. And he's a veteran. Obviously, he's been around. It was Oklahoma for 2 years, TCU for a few years. Now North Texas in his first year. Highland Park High School. Speaking of Matthew Stafford, right? But he's smart. We know his dad's Chad Morris and everything, but he's a smart kid, and he makes really good plays. I think he's gonna put himself in position to win this game for North Texas, which would be huge. I don't know their record overall. Actually, you guys probably help me out with that. But
North Texas is 5.
Okay, yeah. So they're playing for a lot. Bowl.
They're going to be bowl eligible if they beat Army. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and another thing about this team too, with coaches, Eric Morris. You know what he can do. You know, as far as being aggressive and keeping that Army offense off the field and everything. And Army is aggressive as hell. That first game of the season. Okay, I don't want to talk about gambling too much. They screwed me over, man. Like, they had the ball on, like, the 10-yard line and threw the ball with Bryson Daly, and they were up by, like, 30, like, on, like, an FCS school. I'm like, Army, really? Like, this is what we're doing? Like, we're running up the score on FCS schools? Because the spread was, like, 30. And they threw the ball 10 seconds left for a touchdown. And I was like, all right, this team's for real. Like, they're just, like, they don't give a damn. They're running up the score on FCS schools. No, but that was just funny. But no, I mean they're good. But I think I would take the upset.
Okay. Gotcha.
And by the way, Eric Morris is he's on the up and up. He's not going to be at North Texas for too long.
Because I'm a former Marine, Donovan, the Navy was our department that we were under. So I'm a midshipman by nature, and I'm going to also agree with you that the Mean Green does defeat Bill's West Pointers. I'm sorry, Bill. It's going to be first of two losses for your cadets there. They're going down.
There you go. My dad was in the Navy, so 25 years. Bill knows that. So
yes,
I guess I got it in my blood. You know, I wasn't.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Hey, the Navy fed me for my whole life, man, and got me in college. So shout out to always go Navy, beat Army for me. Sorry.
You know what? It is
now,
your
Air Force. You know, I got a lot of Air Force buddies, so I try to root for them too. You know, but
I'm sorry.
I don't know how you guys feel about the Air Force.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The two of you are complete with your rights to back the wrong side, but that's fine, right?
And shout out to Camp Pendleton. You know, because I got some buddies that were.
Oh,
hoorah!
Yeah. Shout out Oceanside, baby. Let's go.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's where I lived. That's where I lived.
I used to live there too. Yeah. We used to live in Oceanside. Yeah. Shout out Oceanside. I bet this guy has some drinking stories. And if he lived in, I won't go that far. Yeah.
No, we won't discuss. We won't discuss the amount of alcohol that I used to consume in that place. No, because it was plenty.
I can only imagine.
Let's go with plenty. Plenty works. Yeah. Let's walk through. I want to touch on a few more games that, while they may not have the same sort of sizzle and pizzazz as some of them talked about, this is another one of those underrated rivalries. NC State and Duke. So NC State, for those that understand how things work, is the quote unquote cow college, as they would sometimes call it. While Duke, of course, is, it's the private school. It's sort of like when Virginia Tech would play Virginia. There's that definite sort of blue collar versus white collar. It's like when University of Illinois plays Northwestern. There's sort of that feeling that, you couldn't have gotten into my school, that kind of thing. So NC State plays Duke. It's a big game anyway, just because there's a rivalry there. I lived in North Carolina for a while when I was young. In fact, the first time I ever saw college football was live, NC State UNC. I was there on my birthday. It was a birthday present, and it was a cheap birthday present because my dad was a student at the time, and student tickets in those days were probably about $3. And I was a kid, so I probably played a little. I was a little kid, so probably played about $1 probably for me. I think programs were 50 cents in those days. The world has changed. But
it is tobacco. It's Tobacco Road. Everybody knows that the three schools are all very close to one another.
Yeah.
That place in that puke calls home should be obliterated from the face of God's green earth. Oh, what? Am I in North Carolina?
It's good to have you back on the side of the Angels, Greg. It's good to have you back on the side of the Angels. I remember growing up in Chapel Hill. I was there from the ages of like about 3 to about 6. And like I said, my first time I ever saw college sports was basketball and football. Was in the old Carmichael Auditorium before they built the Dean Dome and, of course, the Keenan Memorial. But in fact, I remember watching Don McCauley run wild on NC State for about 222 yards rushing on my 3rd birthday. But yes, let's spend some time on this game. One, how do you think this game turns out? I mean, we see how tough Duke can be at times, but NC State's also look good at times. But both teams have been inconsistent this year, Dom. And who do you think prevails and why?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised a little bit that NC State was favored in this game, but I would say Duke. Well, I would not lean towards Duke winning this game, and I know they're on a 2-game losing streak, but no, they looked good last week. They just fell short. But yeah, I think Malik Murphy is coming to his own as a Duke starting quarterback. Over 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 picks a little bit, but he's special quarterback. Talent wise and just size wise and everything. And so is other kid CJ Bailey on the other side though. He's good, young quarterback. But I think it comes down to like Star Thomas and just running the football. Big play potential for him for sure, and just consistency of guys like Jordan Moore on the outside too for them. And I think they'll win this game. I think it'll be another really really close game. It's going to be an entertaining week of college football. I think the spread is like 3.5 for NC State. I would.
I got NC State by 3.
3? Okay. I will lean towards Duke to cover and win this game outright. And like I said, I like NC State. They have had a really weird season, been disappointing kind of with everything, with their quarterback having to retire and everything. But just kind of slow start to the season. But, they've played better too. And CJ Bailey is going to be special, but this is not his time yet. So
yeah,
JC Concepcion is one heck of a good wide receiver.
That's a terrific player. When I look at CJ Bailey, maybe you can am I crazy? Am I crazy when I feel like I see a little bit of like young Jaden Daniels when I watch him?
100%. Yeah, that's what his quarterback coach, Quincy Avery, his quarterback coach, he's actually said that before. So yeah, that tall, lanky. CJ's a little
rubber
bit taller,
bandy kind of, like sort of poor man's Randall Cunningham. Also a little bit like the sort of whippy body that he looks like he's fragile, but guys hit him, he just bounces back up. Randall used to.
I see that 100%. Who do you guys like better, quarterback, Malik Murphy or CJ Bailey? I know they're far apart playing wise. CJ's had a lot less time than Malik, but
I feel like CJ has higher upside.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think CJ could be like a first-round pick in 3 years, or 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
And another issue for Duke is going to be keeping Devin Van away from forcing another fumble. He's already got 5 this year. That man has just been dynamite.
Yep. Yeah, I would watch this game under any circumstances. Once again, I spent some of my formative years in Carolina, but particularly this year, I think that's going to be an absolutely fascinating game. Another game that has some implications and is sort of a sneaky rivalry is Clemson versus Virginia Tech. It's a 2:30 p.m. game, East Coast.
Go Virginia Tech! Go Virginia Tech! Go Virginia Tech! I don't care. Whoever is playing Dabo Swinney, just beat the man, beat him down. That's it.
Well, once again, Greg, I love agreeing with you. Growing up in Virginia, a lot of my friends were Virginia Tech. Shout out to my old teammates like Aldrich Chambly, who played out there. And what I will say about Virginia Tech is they got off to a really odd start. Lost some games they probably should have won. But they're starting to look a little bit more like themselves. They dropped at least one game recently that I thought they would win, but they seem to be sort of finding their footing. And this is a game that Clemson needs, though, right? If Clemson wants to keep any of its hopes alive of being able to hopefully climb over, what they're hoping is that some of the teams that are ahead of them drop some games, they can sort of climb over them and get back into playoff contention. But tell me, how do you see this game playing out, Donovan? Who needs to show up?
Yeah, Virginia Tech has some tough losses. Obviously, the Miami one comes to mind for everybody. But then last week too, right? They lost in overtime, I believe, to Syracuse up in the Carrier Dome. It's not called the Carrier Dome anymore, but I'm kind of old, so it's called something else now. I don't know what it's called. They lost to Syracuse, so that's tough. Clemson, just Georgia lost. They thrown out the window. Everybody's back on them. I wasn't back on them all the way, but I never thought they would get dominated by Louisville at home like that. It was 33-21, but really, they scored that late touchdown in garbage play. Like, it was worse than that. They've just got to cut down. I mean, this is just a team that just doesn't have the explosive guys, man, like they used to. And obviously that's the transfer portal stuff, right? Like, you got, like, I mean, there's no way around it. Like, they're not going to be back to Clemson without the transfer portal. I don't care about anything else. Like, it's over, dude. If you don't hit the transfer portal, you're not winning the national championship. Like, you might win some games. You know what I mean? You could do some things, win 8, 9 days. That's not the standard at Clemson, no, at all, like, for them. So they've just got to play better with the guys they have right now and make do with it. But I'm looking for their O-line to play better. They struggled, I think, last week. I wouldn't put it all on their quarterback, how they played. I think some of that was O-line, and Klubnik under pressure has been, shaky at best. I think a guy like Blake Miller, who I have a really high grade on for the draft. He's got to make sure he plays better and everything too. So he leads the line to me, at left tackle. So, but their defense, Tyler Show, was really good versus them last week. And they were able to run the ball really well last week when they needed to on the third downs, like I was talking about with Georgia, and just keep them on the field. So they can't do that. I don't think Virginia Tech is as good as Louisville when it comes to certain things that Clemson's not good at, which is like speed. Drones is okay. That's another project quarterback that might be really good in a couple of years or a year or two. And I know his cousin is Cam Ward, but Drones is pretty good as well and very athletic, big dude. I don't know if he's playing either, though. So, like, all these quarterbacks we've talked about, like, I mean, he's questionable. I'm guessing he's playing. Like, I don't know. But I think Clemson wins the game. But it won't be pretty. It could kind of be a similar, same score as what they lost last week, 33-21. I think it'll actually be a little bit closer. I'd probably say, like, 33-24. And they're favored by, like, 6.5, I believe. Last time I checked, so I could see that. And I think Kate Klubnik bounces back too. Like, I'm not as high on him as a lot of people. Like, I never really was. Like, I mean, he was really special at Westlake. Like, I saw him in high school. A really good team surrounding him, though, kind of was more of a guy that just played with really good players to me, more so. But he doesn't have the same talent level now, so it's kind of showing. But he's still good. I think he bounces back. He's had a really good season. I'll give him that. I gave him hell for the past year and a half. So for him to have the numbers he has, I'm really impressed. But when you need him the most to play versus these teams, I feel like he doesn't show up still. Because, I mean, if you take out the Louisville and Georgia game, he's played pretty much damn near perfect. Like, all those are his games he's had turnovers in. The other games he's been damn near really perfect in those games. But there's a reason they lost.
Yeah.
He didn't play good. So he's going to have to bounce. Because Virginia Tech has guys, man. They can definitely win this game. And it's in Blacksburg. It's not night, like I said, but it's still going to be rocking. They've got talent. They're not that much, much worse than Clemson's team. So I think Clemson's just a little bit deeper. And they do have some stars on their team that'll make some plays. And I think Klubnik's one of them. So I think they win by about 9, 10 points. And like you said, Bill, must win for them to have a shot at the playoffs. They've got a lot of football left, too, because they got some games where I still can see them losing.
They get to go to Pittsburgh next week.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, and then they play South Carolina. So
Yep.
At home, on the road too, right? Isn't that a road game?
I think that might
be
it's
home.
No, it's in
home.
Clemson. It's in Clemson.
Yeah, because the Rattler last year. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So
that's
yeah,
right.
but they play, but still the rivalry game, and then they play at Clemson, Pittsburgh. Traveling up there at a noon kickoff.
So that's next week.
Yeah, noon kickoff next week. Early game. Up in Pittsburgh, it's a far travel. I mean, not anymore, I guess, in college football. Iowa's playing UCLA right now for homecoming, so that's far too. But I never thought UCLA's homecoming game would be Iowa on Friday night. But whatever.
Yeah, that's a little bizarre.
I got a couple buddies at homecoming. Shout out to UCLA, I guess. I don't like UCLA, but
see, because he's a Trojan. He's a Trojan through and through.
I love Ethan Garbers, though. It's my guy, so hopefully he can get a dub tonight. I don't think they'll win. I think Iowa will dominate, but we'll see. But yeah, as far as this game, I got Clemson winning. That's a trap game though for sure. Averaging a Tech though, 330.
Yep. It's once again a tough place to play, though. At least as you said, it's not a night game. I'll touch on a couple more, and then we can close out in a second. But I want to mention that another not exactly traditional rivalry is playing out in real time as Cal faces their conference foes in Wake Forest. That just feels weird to say. Florida, Texas is a game that, once again, normally would be a huge deal, right? That would have been game day in another year, a few years back or something. Mac Brown versus Urban Meyer back in those days. That would have been big deal game. Not quite as big a deal now, but it still matters. Texas still has a lot to play for. In Florida, well, I guess we'll find out if Florida's packed it in or not based on what we see in terms of effort and things like that. What do you think is going to happen in that game, Donovan?
Yeah, I don't think Florida's packed it in. I think they really impressed me. I know that there's still L's on the column, so it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that's where you make your money. Wins and losses, I get it, but I think they could have packed it in. I thought they were going to pack it in. Their schedule is still tough. They're probably still not going to win a lot of these games, but they play better. I've seen the guys that I thought were going to be good coming to high school be pretty good now, and I think they are starting to get somewhat of an identity. And I hate DJ Lagway is going to be hurt. Every quarterback we've almost talked about in one of these games has been hurt, whether it's Bryson Daly or we just talked about drones or whatever. So Lagway is going to play. He's hurt. He was a National Gatorade Player of the Year last year, and it shows. A lot of fans are saying, hey, he's the best quarterback on the team, regardless if Mertz gets hurt or not. Which Mertz did get hurt, and then Lagway comes in. Now, if they have to go to that third string quarterback again, they're going to be not in a good spot. That kid is in over his head. He shouldn't even be on Florida's roster. To me, he should be like FIU or something. I don't even know if he start there. He's not good at all. So it's going to be tough for them. And they try to design some things for him last week, but you can only do so much, man. And Texas defense is insane. It's so good. So it's going to be tough. They're not going to win this game. I am excited to see it. This is the appetizer game because it's at noon. So I like my appetizers and everything, but this is not going to be close. I don't even know what the spread is, honestly. I'm sure it's like 20, 18. I don't know what it is.
Aiden Warner is going to get himself into a whole lot of hurt.
It's 21.5. So I was close. I said 20. I was 1.5, and it might have started at 20. It might have moved up because Texas money line is just insane. It's like 1,000. Or no, it's 1,700. Sorry.
Yikes.
So this is just Texas is trying to, move on. Like they escaped Vandy. They had a bye week. They're good. This is just they're gonna take care of business. Do I think Florida can cover? Maybe. But again, if Warner has to play, no, because their offense is gonna be so one dimensional, man. It's kind of like when that South Carolina backup quarterback comes in, Robbie Ashford. What's gonna happen. He's not good. We've been watching this kid play at Oregon and at Auburn, and now he's at South Carolina as a backup. He's not good. He only can run, and that's kind of how Warner is. He can throw a dink and dunk and just run, and he's not even athletic as Robbie Ashford. So it's going to be tough versus a defense like this in an environment like this. So, Texas, just take care of the ball, Quinn Ewers. He's back healthy 100% now. I know they had a wide receiver leave the team. So that hurts, but they're deep at receiver with Isaiah Bond and guys like that. So they should be fine. Jonte Cook, I believe, is a receiver that left in a mutual decision. They're just Jonte Cook's great, man. He was a 5-star. He's good, but they just have so many other guys, dude. I think he wanted the ball more. I hate he kind of quit during the season to me. You got Matthew Golden, Isaiah more. You only have one football. So when these guys, they go to Texas, and there's other 5-stars at the position, I don't know what they expect, really. You weren't as good as Ryan Wingo. and Isaiah Bond, you know what I mean, and Matthew Golden. So you're the fourth receiver, but whatever. He's already got NIL deal coming from Oregon, and he'll probably go wherever. But regardless, Quinn Ewers and those guys will get it done in their defense. Hope they can find a way to run the ball a little bit, because that's going to be their bugaboo. If Texas doesn't win the national championship, it'll be because they couldn't really run the ball to me, because 2 running backs injured preseason, already had some trouble running the football. So we'll see what happens with that. But they'll win. I'll probably say like 45 to like 17. Not a close game. Might be close early. I think it'll be close early. But
both Florida corners are now out for this game. Marshall Jr. and Devin Moore are both out.
The
so
wrong team to play
Bond
against.
is going to have a field day.
He might have I hope he got inspired by Jamar Chase last night. So, because I mean that game was. I don't know if y'all watched that, but Jesus Christ!
Oh,
that was fun.
That was insane. It was
so my fantasy team. Shout out.
Yeah, but Zach Taylor needs to be fired from the NFL. I'm sorry, you just cannot do the things that he does on a consistent basis like that and survive as an NFL head coach. It is so dumb to watch that man continually go for fourth downs when the Ravens are going to have a short field anyway. No, you kick the ball away and make them go 99 yards. You force the team to go that distance. And when you went for that 2-point conversion, that was so horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
I liked the 2. I didn't like the going for it during the game. The 2 I didn't mind because Lamar had 2 timeouts in 35 seconds and overtime possibly. Right. And they weren't stopping them, dude. Like, so I don't know. Like, I think, and then Tucker.
But the Ravens weren't stopping the Ravens weren't stopping you either. You kicked that. You kicked the 1 point.
And then
but
you got to stop them with 30.
You go for overtime. Yeah, but you go for the overtime. You have to go for that overtime.
I see it both ways. I mean, I guess hindsight, you know, I mean, whatever. Well, I get it. See, like, I mean, that's speaking going back to Florida. When they played Tennessee, they should have went for 2. I just think like college football is a little different, but like you don't have anything to. Go for 2. Like you went out there and you acted like you're going to go for 2 to look at what they had, and then you called a timeout. And I think that's what Zach Taylor messed up last night when he had Jamar Chase with a 1-on-1 matchup on that corner. Just don't. If you're going to go for 2, yeah, like if you're going to go for 2, do it. Now you're getting them like time to. Now they have a different look, and you don't have that 1-on-1 with Jamar Chase. Like
that was my issue with it.
Because you have a top 3 and top 3 quarterback and top 3 receiver in my eyes. Do it, go for it. Like, but don't call a timeout and then come back.
This is why Zach Taylor needs to be gone from this league, because he does not understand how to finish off games. He doesn't get it.
Yeah, I hate it for the bench. Well, I got to deal with Press Taylor, so that's worse than Jacksonville. So I don't want to hear about Zach Taylor because Press Taylor is the little brother that's really worse. Well, but no, you're probably right on both. But.
Well, those damn Jaguars cost me another lone wolf pick. They cost me a lone wolf pick against those damn Eagles last week. I had them beating them, and they were very close to doing so. They were very close.
Every game is very close.
Every game is very close. Yes.
What Doug Peterson said, we could be 6-2, man. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, Doug, you were not 6-2 though.
Oh, you're doing 6 and.
Could be. I could have been a lot of stuff too, Doug Peterson. You could not have a Super Bowl, you know. Also, with Nick Foles, but you have one. You know what I mean? So shit happens. Basically.
Before we go, I wanted to touch on a few more games. I feel like we have to talk about Kansas, Iowa State, which, you know, preseason, I think a lot of people might have expected that Kansas would be the ranked team when they met. I want to make sure we discuss Vanderbilt and South Carolina, which I think is going to be an absolute dogfight. Colorado, Texas Tech, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and, of course, number 1 Oregon against their traditional conference rival, Maryland. It just bothers me that both these teams are somehow in the Big Ten.
Oh, wow. Sorry. I'm watching the Iowa-UCLA game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ethan Garbers, why throw that pass?
Right, which feels wrong also. And then we'll finish up in honor of our friend Greg with Notre Dame, Florida State. But let's No,
it's Virginia. We're playing Virginia this week.
I'm in Virginia. I'm sorry, Virginia.
That's next week, I think.
Right, next week. Yeah.
Yeah, next week we take down the Seminoles, and
Are
then the
you
week after that,
is that in
it's
South
Army.
Bend or is it in Tally?
It's in South Bend.
Okay, I live an hour away, Greg, from Tally. If you want to,
Huh.
but no, it's yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
Okay, but let's just walk through them. I think everyone's going to be on Ohio State and Ohio State versus Purdue. Though Purdue sometimes whips out a little upset magic. I don't think this is the week for that.
Not the
No,
year for that.
Right. Or
They
the
had
year.
their chance at night on a Friday night versus Oregon, and they blew it. That was their upset special. I kept hearing, well, they could win this game. They're one. No. They're so bad. Poor Ryan Walters.
Yes, for Ryan Walters.
Got to deal with
But
Notre
Purdue
Dame
is
winning and Indiana winning, and then you're
Right.
Purdue. Like, come on, dog.
But I think Purdue is smart enough to be patient with him. He's a good coach.
Oh, they should. Well, they fired Graham Harrell, so I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe.
Right.
Their big game was that 1-point loss in overtime to the Illini.
That was
Right.
a game.
50-49.
They did, yeah. Well, yeah, and I won't say poor Hudson Card. He's just not good. But his career, man, if you had told me he would be a backup quarterback at Purdue now, I would have been like, damn. I wasn't super high on him either. He was a quarterback before Kate Klubnik, by the way. They kind of similar. Klubnik's better, but Hudson Card, man, because he started at Texas, dude, like 3 years ago. Now he's back up at Purdue. I think they can cover the first half, though.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Well,
If
nowadays
you
in college football, life comes at you fast.
I think
Iowa State, Kansas. Anybody see an upset coming there, or are we all on Iowa State?
I'm on Iowa State, even though because they lost last week. I mean, I'm still disappointed in that loss. I had Matt Campbell as one of my top Coach of the Year candidates going into that game, but not any longer.
Yeah, I don't think he had a chance at the Signetti Cup, but I agree he's still a very talented young coach, and at one point he was one of the hottest names in coaching just a couple years ago.
This one's tricky, man. Like it's a neutral site, a true neutral site game too, and at Arrowhead. And I know Kansas State's been underwhelming this year, but I feel like this is a game they can win. Especially, I know it's Houston, but they kind of look better the past couple of weeks. Jalen's looking a little bit better. He's healthy. He's had a tough year though, man. Speaking of guys playing in Canada.
Yep.
And that's no dig. I'm just saying, like, I thought a lot of people thought Jalen Daniels could be like a mid-round guy. He's not. He's not that guy. Hurt too much and just not accurate enough. But I still like the kid. I like Arnold and Grimm too. Like they have some guys. Devin Neal, right?
Yep.
Like former quarterback. He's been great. So I think it was 3. I think 3.5 is the spread by Iowa State. Or 3. I want to pick Kansas so bad, but Iowa State's just so balanced, and the coaching's better with Matt Campbell, like you guys said, and they're just I can trust them. Like they don't kill themselves. Even last week, right? Like it's not like they beat themselves. Like they got beat, and it was a close game and everything. But I'll say Iowa State by 3. I think they got it about right. I like Rocco at quarterback, and yeah, I think they win. Close game though.
Gotcha. That brings us to, as we walk on through, a game that, I think once again, if someone said one of these teams is going to be ranked number 24, preseason, everyone probably would have guessed the Gamecocks, but it's not. It is the sturdy Commodores of Vanderbilt who are in the top 25. How do you see this game playing out, Donovan? And who do you think will, who are some of the players we should focus on as well?
Man, I honestly forgot this game is this week. That's a lot of damn good games this week, man.
Yeah.
This game is in South Carolina, I believe, right? Oh, no.
No,
it's in Vandy. It's at
Vandy.
In that weird stadium that's doing construction in the middle of the games. Oh man, this is tough, dude. South Carolina's defensive line, all NFL guys. So good. They can. I mean, I could make an argument they have the best defensive line in the country, at least starters. I don't know about too deep and everything, but man, they're good. They're so athletic. they're gonna give Diego a run for his money. This is what time is this game, Bill? You got
I
the
think
time
it's
on the 4:15 kickoff.
Yeah, 4:15.
4:15, weird kickoff.
Or 3:15
SEC Network.
Eastern, I guess, or whatever. So.
Oh, yeah. Boy, this is tough. This is the toughest game you've given me. Sellers is playing. You know he's hurt. He's always hurt. Oh, man. I got to go South Carolina. This is going to be another nail-biter close game, but their D-line, when somebody has a D-line like that, I trust them. And if Sellers if Robbie Ashford comes in this game, they're losing 100%.
Huh.
If you can tell, I do not like Robbie Ashford. When they played LSU in the beginning of the season, did you guys watch that game? Like the whole momentum changed. The team was, oh damn, Robbie Ashford's in. He's gonna run, throw a deep pass. That's all, and he misses on every deep pass. He'll get 1 out of 10. But Sellers is okay. He's solid. Very athletic. This whole team's athletic. They're just really I love what he's doing. Just getting pure athletes. I want the best athletes, whether it's Nick Harbour or Sellers or Dylan Stewart or whoever. I know we're not really big Sparks rating guys anymore, but they're getting all the top Sparks guys. When it comes to analytics, for sure. And I love Coach Beamer and what he's done. So I'm gonna go with them. I think it'll be close. I'll say 31-27. There'll be some points scored, but at the end of the day, I think Pavia will be sacked and he'll make some turnovers. And the story's been fun, and it still is fun. I'm so happy for Vandy, being an SEC guy, but it kind of comes to an end a little bit here with this loss. So I think South Carolina wins. But I can see it going either way again, close, but they're more consistent on both sides of the ball to me.
I sort of have a soft spot for Vandy, but I think the talent disparity, right? That's what I can't completely ignore the talent disparity. I love the coaching staff at Vanderbilt. I've been a fan of Diego Pavia even before he transferred. I watched him. He was playing for Jerry Kill, right? I watched him play for Jerry Kill out there, and I think he was a wrestler, which you don't see a lot of time with quarterbacks.
He looks like a wrestler.
I think he was a very good wrestler in high school.
He acts like, you don't see
he
that
was.
quarterback.
Yeah, he was a very good wrestler in high school.
Which I love that. I love when quarterbacks, like when I find wide receivers like Roddy White. Roddy White was a state champion wrestler. I love it when like people at positions you don't normally expect for great wrestlers. Are you in agreement, Greg, or do you want to go the other way?
No, I South Carolina's defensive line is just as Donovan said. These guys are all going to be drafted in the NFL. I mentioned this the week before they played. 2 weeks ago, before they played the game. Yeah, that South Carolina was going to beat, and they did. They came out and pounded Texas A&M.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah, I just really hope Lenore Sellers can stay healthy. I know I keep going back to it, but man, like he's gotten hurt in almost every game this season. Like,
yes,
he missed a couple, 2, right? And then I think he's only 1 game he played fully. And it's so and he's just now this guy's huge. Like he's 6'5", 250, 242 or whatever, and but he takes so many hits, and he's just I'm not saying he's fragile or anything, because I'm sure he's tough. He's a really smart kid too.
Takes so many hits.
He just takes so many, and they have to run with him so much. And he's not developed as a passer at all. I get it, but he's only a redshirt freshman. I just like him a lot, and I just think the drop off is just so significant. Even if they went to Luke Doty, who plays receiver, but he's the 3rd-string quarterback. He's former 4-star quarterback, but
yes,
they haven't really gone to him. But I think that he took some reps at quarterback, because I don't think Beamer wants to go to Ashford either. Like, honestly, I mean, shoot, like Raheem said, Rocket played quarterback in high school.
That's true.
He was like a running quarterback though, but like, I mean. No, I guess Robbie Ashford's not that bad to put Rocket Sanders at quarterback. But Wildcat, I don't know. They got to be creative, though, because if Sellers goes down, man, like Nick Harbour, that dude's a literally world-class athlete. Put him back. Yes. I don't know.
But you look at what Sellers did last week to Nick Scarlett, and he made Scarlett look like an absolute fool last week.
Yeah,
Because
I really like
Skeleton was coming for this quarterback without realizing that quarterback speed. He didn't realize his speed, and it reminded me last year when Micah Parsons did that to Josh Dobbs against the Arizona Cardinals, and Dobbs just took off. He went for 61 yards. That was the ball game right there. Well, when Sellers took off against Skeleton, and Skeleton goes after the right tackle, right? He goes after that right tackle. And he likes to be like TJ Watt and all these other guys. Well, guess what? You got to still be able to stop that running game. And when you can't do that, you're in big trouble.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple more games, and we can close this thing out. Another game where, well, I guess some people might have picked either one of these teams or both these teams to be ranked preseason, and one of them is Colorado faces Texas Tech, a Texas Tech team that I think is dangerous. I think it's a bad time to be playing them. They seem to be figuring some things out. But Colorado has a lot to play for, as we talked about as well. Who do you think prevails, and who are some of the players that you think will be monumental and pivotal in the way this game is decided, Donovan?
This is another good one, man. Hopefully this one's a little bit later at night for me because all these games are kind of at the same time a little bit. I don't know what time. This is a night game.
Yeah, this is a night game.
Because the tortillas will be going, right? Man, I'm really happy with what Joey McGuire has done with Texas Tech. They look really good, especially like you said, Bill. They're hot right now, but I'll go with Colorado's hot too. You know what I mean? They're both hot. It's going to be a very, very fun game, but I go with Colorado. I've been going with Star. This is kind of like a separation week almost. I feel like I don't know if we're gonna call it separation week. I don't know what the schedule looks like next week or anything off the top of my head, but just separating. You know, we're getting teams that they have better players. It comes down to it sometimes. I know there's upsets. Feel like they happen later in the year too, which is right. But we had a lot early in the year. We still have definitely room for upset, and this is not that big of an upset if it happens. I'm sure the spread's kind of low. But it's 4.5 as I'm looking at it. But
I have the Buffaloes leaving Lubbock in their rearview mirror with another loss. The Texas Tech Red Raiders are debuting their Patrick Mahomes jersey. They're going to have a very, very loud crowd at AT&T Jones Stadium. Unlike the AT&T Stadium that I'm familiar with on Sundays, which is very quiet because, of course, the way that Jerry built the damn place was all wrong. But okay. No, I've got.
Don't tell me you're Notre Dame and Dallas Cowboys fan. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hate, dude. Not for me, but
I get all the hate. Donovan,
you better not be a Yankees fan too. You better not be a Yankees fan too.
No.
Okay, I was like, well, we're gonna start, and if you say you're a Celtics fan and Yankees, I'm like, all right, man.
No, I know. No.
Okay. I was like, don't tell me you're one of those guys.
Basketball, I am a UNC Tar Heel fan because of Coach Smith, and then it was Kareem with the sky hook, and I was a Lakers fan until this year because they hired that coach from QQ. So I'm
a Lakers fan. Yeah.
I'm switching my allegiance this year because QQ I can't handle the coach. No, that just isn't right. So I'm an OKC for this year because of SGA.
Okay.
Love SGA, man. Best dressed guy in the league, possibly top 5. I'm a big fashion guy. Well, not really. I'm not a big fan. I like other people's fashion.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't dress like that. Like I can't get away.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I like, GQ magazine. Yeah, I'm about it. He's on the cover. You know, big GQ guy, and just amazing player, top 5 in the league. But yeah, going back to this game, I got, speaking of fashion, my guy Shadur, very, very big in fashion and perfect timing. Yeah. I think they win. I mean, I could say I could see it going either way. I get why it's 4.5, 4-point spread. It's on the road. It's got the Mahomes jerseys, which is great. I love Texas Tech's jerseys always. I've always loved the color scheme. Black and red, my 2 favorite colors. And the team's great. Joey McGuire's had him rolling this year, but I'll go with Colorado in a close game. Yeah, I think it's like 38-34, so 4 points. That's exactly where I have it at. So
I've got 34-31 for Texas Tech. So
yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. So you see it going either way. It's gonna just be a turnover here, a turnover there, a coaching decision to go for it in the middle of the field, like that's small, stuff. So that's I'm glad this is a night game and it's gonna be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yep.
Actually, it's at 4 Eastern. 4 Eastern is to kick off
Oh,
time.
it's 4? Man.
Yeah.
They're killing me, man.
They are killing you, Donovan. Yes. Well, hopefully
I got
this
the
will.
YouTube I got YouTube TV. I can split it off, but Jesus Christ, man.
Well, I'm gonna give you a night. I'll give you a night game if that helps you.
Help me out.
So a night game: Washington, Penn State. Penn State, of course, needs to bounce back, shake off. Washington still has some things to play for. Obviously, they're not a playoff team this year, but it would be a feather in their cap if they were able to knock off Penn State. How do you think this game plays out, and who are some of the players you'll be focusing on in that matchup?
So now they want to have a night game. Washington. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is
traditional rivals.
The whiteout game. This is now the whiteout game.
And I'm sure Jed Fish is pissed off because he's been crying all year, every week. It's so annoying. Get over it. Bill knows I love Jed Fish too. Been on Jed Fish for a minute, but come on, dog, just get over it. Like your team's just not that good. They're not supposed to be though. They lost everybody, and you're a good coach, and he's done a good job with them. Not versus Indiana though. Speaking of Indiana, shout out. I just want to give Indiana some more love, because they dominated that game for sure. But no, this game is interesting. 13 spread. Penn State wins, but I think Washington covers. It's going to be really close. Sneaky close. Kind of like maybe not as close as Penn State USC, because that game went to like double overtime, but close. I see it like 27-21 Penn State. Coming off that high and then low last week, losing that game to Ohio State at home, coming back at night playing. This is a whiteout game or just night game?
Yeah,
whiteout.
Whiteout.
This is so stupid. Sorry. Whatever. Sure. Jeff Fish is definitely pissed off, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah, man, I think they win this game. They're so talented. It's kind of like the Vandy game we're talking about. Obviously, it's not that close. Those teams should be a little bit further away, Penn State and Washington, but they're just so talented. Katron Allen, and what those guys can do. They're tight end, Tyler Warren. They just take care of business versus teams like this. It's kind of what it comes down to.
Katron does not go by that name. He does not like being called Katron.
It's the Fat Man.
It is Fat Man. He is known as Fat Man.
Yeah. That's right.
Now he's not going to be Boss Man Fat that ruined my draft a couple years ago for the Cowboys, but no,
you're right.
This Fat Man and Fat Man, he can come to Dallas too. He can come to Dallas along with Ashon Genty, and we'll be fine at running back again.
Yeah, you would be.
Definitely.
But yeah, I this game. I saw a stat where they've won 16 games versus non-ranked opponents at home. That they just take care of. James Franklin call him what you want, but when it comes to a team that's unranked, he's gonna beat them. Now, he's going to lose the other ones, but he's going to win these games. It might not be pretty all the time, but he wins them. And I think it won't be pretty, but they'll win. I have been impressed by Drew Aller outside of last week, but he's got to make that next step, man. Like, he's also young. It sounds like he's not young because he's been starting for so long, but still is, because he was 17 when he started his first game at Penn State. But he's got to step up because they're a playoff team to me. Like, I think they're a lot to make the playoffs because they're not going to be in the Big Ten championship probably. They might be, they might not. It might be better if they don't make it, honestly, with the new playoff setup. But I think their FPI to make it was like 80, 82 or something like that. So they should make it. But if they want to make a run, they got to get better play from Aller, Mr. Aller, and they got to get better play from the outside guys too. Because there's guys like Julian Fleming, man, that he's just not good anymore. Like, he was at Ohio State. He was the number one receiver in that class. Wasn't good at Ohio State. There's all those receivers that he was behind. Transfers to Penn State, lost in the sauce again. And they just need guys like that. They just don't have guys like that. You know what I mean? They don't have Chris Godwin anymore walking through the door. So, but
Tyler Warren led the team in rushing yards last week, and Nick Singleton led the team in receiving yards. That tells you why Penn State lost to Ohio State, right there.
Yeah, and I love Allen and Singleton and Warren, but the guy is a tight end, like, and he shouldn't be doing that at all. So yeah, but for this game they'll win. I do like Will Rogers and what they've done though. They've been pretty competitive, and they've stayed in some games, and they're tough. That's a tough ass team that he's got in Seattle for sure. And if it was in Seattle, I could see an upset at night. But no, it's in Happy Valley, and they'll win.
Last few games I want to touch on. Another traditional Big Ten rivalry, Maryland versus Oregon. How do you see that game playing out there, Donovan?
I have no idea what the spread is or anything at all about this game. Not gonna lie.
This is going to be a wipeout.
But
come on.
It is. I mean, I will say Maryland's a tough team too. I like what they can do. They've got some guys up front. They got a couple guys. Let's watch them play versus SC, but saying SC, Oregon been the most complete team from top to bottom all year to me. They've lost 3 out of the last 4 to Maryland, so they're not looking too hard right now. Lost to Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State, so on and so on. So, night game in Austin, it shouldn't be a problem, man. For Oregon, I will say, thing I do love about Oregon, unlike Ohio State, even though they're both good, they played each other at one point or whatever, but Oregon just starts up so hot and so dominant. Like, they get it out of the way. Like, Lannick's not playing around. He gets them up for these games. I don't care if he lies to the team saying Maryland's one of the best teams we've faced all year. They're not. But whatever he has to do to get the team up and going, he does. But, I mean, like, Billy Edwards has been, like, okay, like, this year. Like, they're not a horrible team like Maryland, but there's just the Oregon's just too good. You know what I mean? The score, whatever, Oregon 45 to like 17, because Oregon's just been dominating the first half, and then like they're up by so much that Maryland will cover your second half score. By the way, if you want to go that route, but like they'll be up 31 to like 7 at halftime. You know what I mean? Just keep running the ball, running the clock out, and so they know this is not Oregon with Chip Kelly scoring 66 anymore, but still I would say like 45 to like 14, 17, something like that. Dylan Gabriel, that's who I forgot. Sorry, yeah, that dude's definitely.
There's your fourth person.
I couldn't think of the quarterback I was trying to think of. I was like, I'm forgetting someone. How could I forget Dylan Gabriel after all these years? 6 of them.
Huh.
At least he played in all his years. He wasn't just bouncing around. Like, he played at UCF, Oklahoma, and Oregon.
Yep. So once again, another team with aspirations to be in the 12-team playoff is Tennessee. Faces Mississippi State. Mississippi State is struggled. They have Jeff Lebby, who is one of those people who comes from that lineage of. I guess he's sort of on the Briles coaching tree, sort of, and I guess he's part of the Briles family tree. I believe he's married into the family.
He's married, yeah.
He is.
But how do you think that particular game will play out?
This you're gonna probably laugh at me for this game. I think this game's gonna be closer than the experts think. I think Tennessee wins. Okay. It'll be similar to the Georgia game, where Mississippi State was right there. Tennessee's looking ahead to next week, for sure. This is a trap game. I know it's at home, so it doesn't feel like a trap game, but they're gonna mess around with them a little bit. I think they'll get it done though. But they play Georgia. Anybody knows Tennessee Georgia rivalry? That's little brother for Georgia, and they're going to Athens next week. That's gonna be College game day. Duh. I mean, but they haven't been to Athens yet. So yeah, like they're gonna be looking a little ahead. But and Mississippi State scored a little bit with Van Buren. I hate his number 0 at quarterback. It's so weird, but he's pretty good. I actually like him a lot. Not Will Rogers, but he's different. He can run the ball a little bit, obviously more than Rogers, and he can sling it. He's a true freshman too, so I like him. They just gave up a lot of yards, man, to UMass though. And this is Tennessee, so they're going to be giving up some yards. The way they can run the ball, and then the way Nico can play, if he can, get it together and just connect with his receivers. But they kind of have a Penn State problem too, where I think they're just. I mean, they give big plays, but I think they should be getting bigger plays than what they do. And some of that's just lack of on the outside and just drop balls and stuff like that. Nico's had a lot of drop balls. He's missed on balls too, though. So, but I think they win this game. What do we say? I would say like 48 to 31, which is still probably covering. Oh, it's 23.5 the spread.
So, I'm sorry, fellas. It is Florida State at Notre Dame tomorrow. Jeff made me up last week. He said it was Virginia versus Notre Dame.
Yeah, I thought I was not going as crazy as it turns out I
So we
wasn't.
got to talk about that
Yeah,
one too, then I guess.
we're going to touch
We
on it real
don't have
quick.
to. Really don't have to.
But that in fact, that was saving that one for last, like I said. So
But yeah, I
before
got Tennessee though. I just think it'll be a little funky in the first half, but they'll pull through. Watch
so
out for Van Buren though. I like that kid. Like that kid a lot.
Yeah.
Our last two games before we finish off with Florida State Notre Dame, our last two games. Well, Virginia will be facing a very tough but obviously slightly disappointed Pittsburgh team. So Virginia, of course, has some problems at various positions this year. They've had injuries. They've had guys that just didn't live up to expectations. So they've, kind of muddled around and looked bad at various points. I think that they're a better team than they have looked like, if that makes sense. I feel like if they were to start the season over again, they'd win a couple more games than they won this time around. But of course, Pittsburgh, of course, has a terrific defense. Their offense is kind of, sometimes okay, sometimes just kind of there. But what do you think this game will be like, and who do you think? What players do you think are be worthy of mention in the Virginia Pittsburgh game?
I missed some of that because it was breaking up a little bit for me. I think you're doing the Virginia Pitt game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I
Correct.
just couldn't really hear that well.
And I was just saying, Virginia, is a team that has underachieved and had injuries, and just players didn't play well. Also,
Yeah, both. A lot of both. Definitely underachieved, but a lot of injuries. So many injuries. They're both still playing for a lot. Pitt's trying to get in the college football playoff, obviously, and Virginia's trying to get bowl eligible at least. They're 4-4, so Pitt 7.5, 8-point favorite. This game's in Virginia, right? In Charlottesville, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, Charlottesville, correct.
This is a Bill Carroll special right here. Pittsburgh versus Virginia. This is like I feel like where your places where you're from. Yeah, I would have to go with Pitt though. Say Pitt wins. They're rough.
Pitt is,
go ahead.
Pitt is at home. They're at home.
Oh, it's at Hines. All right. Yeah, I'll still go Pitt for sure. Virginia's been struggling. They're not healthy, like you said. They played Louisville, Clemson, and North Carolina. I don't think they were favoring any of those games. So it's not like they got upset or anything, but they've just had a problem with their O-line. They're on third-string guys. They're playing a walk-on, I believe, at guard or right tackle, one of those two. Yeah, so
at right guard, isn't he?
Yeah, right guard. Yeah. So shout out to the walk-ons for sure. But in the middle of the season, playing a guy that hasn't played since like high school. Wow, it's tough. So I think they win Pittsburgh. It might not be a pretty game, but I think they win. Virginia might dirty it up a little bit, but I would definitely say Virginia loses this game to Pitt. Pitt's one of the most balanced teams in the country, and Eli Holstein from Alabama. I know he didn't play the best last week, but he's been pretty consistent all year too. So I think this is kind of a lower scoring game, honestly. And I think Pitt holds on to win. Man, I thought Narduzzi was on the hot seat a couple of years ago. And now, one of the best coaching jobs he's all year to me. Because I didn't think much of Pitt this year. I thought they were like a 7-5, 8-win team. He was already over that. So I'm impressed by Narduzzi. He's been a crybaby too a little bit, but it's all right. I like Narduzzi. I've always liked Narduzzi, though. I liked him as a DC. Yeah. He's a good coach. So.
Are you in agreement, Greg, that Pitt pulls away and puts the Cavaliers away?
Yes, your home state loses tomorrow. It's
I can live with that.
They go down.
Those are the wine and cheese eaters up north. So I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this though, man. I saw Tony Elliott's speech. Like he got me want to run through a brick wall, but I don't think it'll be enough. Like he apologized to the professors at Virginia. I apologized to every single person at Virginia, and the locker room and the staff, and it's my fault and this and that, and we will show up next week and win this game. No, I don't know, man. We'll see. I think they'll play hard though.
They will play hard. Tony Elliott's the right man for the job, and he's going to win games there. The problem, once again, they're like the Stanford of, I was going to say of the ACC, but Stanford's in the ACC.
I was going to say,
Which still doesn't sit right with me, but they have a passion gap, right? The fans certainly want to see a winning, but it's not like Texas A&M. It's not like, heck, it's not like Oklahoma State. I mean, it's not like it's more like Stanford. The fans would like to see them win, but it's not life and death. It's not something that determines whether or not you have a good week or not. It's just different. It's just they
South Virginia basketball, which they're horrible now too. But
well, I mean, they probably have a healthy perspective. That's probably what it is. Unlike most other programs we talk about, they have a healthy perspective on college athletics. It's something that's there to build character and that kind of thing. But yeah, they're not throwing bags of burning dog poop on the coach's stoop after a bad loss, which is probably a good thing.
No, I mean, but you know what, man? Just quickly, I thought with Bronco Mendenhall they had something. Those 2 years, 18 and 19, they were on the up and up and ranked and everything. And I couldn't believe that didn't work out. I thought that was perfect, but I really hope Tony Elliott does well. It's been shaky, but he had to change that whole scheme. Wise, it's so much different from what Bronco had. Yeah, so I would give Tony Elliott. People were saying he's on the hot seat. I was like, I would give him time. I mean, I know he's only won 10 games in 3 years, which is bad. But it's Virginia. Like it's tough, dude. Like people don't understand how hard it is to win there.
It's very very high academic standards.
Mike London. I mean, he started off good, I guess, but he was bad too. Like
they have high academic standards. They don't do a lot in NIL, and
no.
right. Obviously, they don't really work the portal as well as.
I've never heard a kid I've interviewed talk about Virginia at all since NIL started. And I interview a lot of recruits.
And you won't. It's big news to get a 3-star, dude. If it's our high 3-star, it's big news to get a high 3-star at UVA. Once again, because of we talked about Stanford. Like a place like Stanford, they have high academic standards, but unlike Stanford, they aren't sitting on there's talent in the state of Virginia, but not where they're located, right? The talent is above them and below them, right? So, but they don't recruit the area well, and they do hit the Tidewater, but they don't do as well in the Tidewater as Virginia Tech does. Virginia Tech builds the foundation of their program on the Tidewater area.
Michigan and Alabama have stole a lot of Virginia recruits too. Michigan and Alabama especially, because I know they had. I think it was like 4 years ago. They had like 3 of the top 5 D linemen. They all went to Alabama.
Yeah,
right.
From Virginia. So
from Virginia. Yeah.
So yeah, they've got a couple of structural issues and just a perception issue.
Clemson.
People don't feel like people really care, frankly. Okay. Now we're at the penultimate, the last game before the last game. Nevada, in once again a rivalry. This one of the favorite college football games I've ever seen in my life was when a undefeated Boise faced Nevada. Kaepernick was the quarterback at Nevada, and of course Kellen Moore, who at that point set a record that season for the most wins as a starting quarterback at the Division I level. And that game went to, I think, 3, either 2 or 3 overtimes.
3 overtimes.
It was 3. I thought it was 3 overtimes. An amazing game. One of the greatest games I've ever seen. We probably won't get quite that level of game this year. Number 12 Boise State faces an unranked Nevada, but it is still a game that the Nevada Reno fans really want to win. And, of course, Boise State needs to win because they're right there. They're right there. They got to hold on to that position. Once again, Donovan, tell me about what you think of that game.
It's going to be tough for Nevada to win this one. Can they cover? Yes, actually, I think so. Ashton Genty, I mean, what else needs to be said? I get, you know what I mean? I'm actually really impressed with Madsen, too. This year, the sophomore quarterback, he's taking care of the ball. Obviously, I know he's got best running back in the country, but he's still taking care of the ball and done a really good job. 17 touchdowns against 2 picks. Completion percentage is really good, so I think they win. Gonna be pretty high scoring game. Brendan Lewis is kind of coming to his own a little bit though. He's played pretty well. Nevada's gotten definitely better this year, and they run the ball pretty well, but I still would take Boise State. But I think it might go over. I think a lot of points will be scored in this game. Lewis has really impressed me this year. He's come a long way from watching him last year. So yeah, I'll take Boise State. And like I said, they're 24.5-point favorite. Yeah, I mean 21 points. I would say about right there. But it's gonna be a lot of points. Maybe not like you said, not like the Kaepernick versus Kellen Moore game from a long time ago. But yeah, I think they win. I remember that game though.
Oh yeah, it was a fantastic.
It just seems like forever ago. I don't know how many years it's been, but it's got to be like 15 years ago.
I believe it was either 15 or 16, but it was an amazing game. And like I said, I've watched a lot of college football. It's one of the top, probably 5 to 10 games I've ever seen. Are you in agreement, Greg, that this is a 20 to 24-ish point win for the Broncos?
Yeah, because the Nevada team is better than what people thought they are, but they're not going to handle Boise State, because if you thought Iowa State and Matt Campbell had a well-coached team, etc., this Boise State bunch is so talented from top to bottom. They will beat up on Nevada here. They will beat them.
Yeah, they will. I agree with that. Yeah, I know it's weird, man. I know Nevada's not going to make a bowl game at 3-7, but man, they've been close. I mean, it's I lost 4 games by 5 points or less. Like, you hate to see it. This one won't be that close, but I mean, I really feel like they had no business losing that Fresno State game at all. Or I didn't watch the San Jose State game, but I know they were up by a lot, and they just kind of let them. And then the SMU, they were right. I mean, there's so many games. And they run the ball well, too, though. I think they're second in Mountain West in rushing, but not as good as Boise.
No.
And Boise's defense is going to slow down that running game.
Guys, Boise runs for like 269, and Nevada's second. They're only 187. They're like 100 yards ahead of them almost, and they're second. That's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah.
So, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, Greg.
Mike Norvell's final time going to Notre Dame. Because he's got to get fired. This man has got to be fired.
Well, if it is his last trip, will it be a good trip for him, Donovan? Will he enjoy his trip to
are you going? Are you going tomorrow?
South.
No.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. I guess I could.
Oh, I don't know where you live. Oh, I know. I thought you lived in Notre Dame. I know you're a Notre Dame fan. I didn't know if you lived there.
No, I'm actually I live in Canada.
Don't go to this game if you don't have to. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the most disappointing team to me. Not even close.
Yes.
I live, like I said, I live with a lot of Florida State fans. There's more Florida State fans here in Jacksonville than Florida, actually. So, because it's an hour away, Tallahassee, and I talked to them and talked to the guys over there, Nosewire. It's disappointing. They're bad. They've won one game. This is Florida State. I don't care how bad it gets. Florida State should not be 1-8 or 7, whatever they are. Or they're about to be 1-8 because they're not winning this game.
I'm surprised
Notre Dame's gonna win. It's just I don't know the spread. I don't know how much by, because Notre Dame's weird. Sometimes they might not win by much, but they're still gonna win. I don't see it being that close, but I don't know what the spread is, so I can't say what close it is really. It's 25.5. Man, yeah. I probably say 28 to like 10. I know that Florida State's defense has kept them in games a little bit. Because I watched them a lot this year actually, and defenses, they got some guys. They're not too bad, but their offense is horrible. They can't run. They don't have any receivers. quarterbacks are all bad. The true freshman kid's not horrible, but dude wasn't taking any reps. He was like the fourth-string quarterback, coming to the season. So you know how that works. Those guys, they're not getting snaps in practice. So to just come in the game like that, I mean, your backup's barely getting reps in college now, like especially when you're paying a quarterback almost $1 million like DJU. He's $890,000 NIL deal, like for what? One win. So sorry, Florida State. I think they cover, I guess, yeah, but they're going to lose the game. So that's all.
There we go.
Yeah, Florida State does
Florida
not
State's
even
really
come close to covering this because that Notre Dame defense is going to be all over Florida State. You already said they can't run the football. Well, in their passing game, they don't have any receivers. Well, Xavier Watts is going to have 2 picks. One of them will be a pick 6. Leonard Moore, who has just been outstanding in taking Brendan Morrison's spot, is also going to have a pick.
I hate Benjamin's out for the season, man. That's one of my favorite players. I hate that. He's a great player, cornerback for Notre Dame, I guess, but he's done. But yeah, man, it doesn't really matter. I don't know what they're gonna do at quarterback. Really, I have no idea. I just don't know if Norvell even know. You know what I mean? Because if I'm Norvell at this point in the season, like, you have to go with Luke Kromenek at quarterback. Like, he's a true freshman. That's the future guy, the big time recruit you got last year. Just go with him. Let him play. Let him get some. Because Brock Glenn's not good. He's not.
Nope.
And he's not. He doesn't even have any upside. You know what I mean? So go with. And Luke can run too. Brock is a better passer than Luke. I will give him that, but not by much. You know what I mean? So they're gonna play both. That's what they've been saying. So I get it. They'll go with both. They'll probably start Brock Glenn. He'll throw a pick 6 to Xavier Watts, like you said, and then they'll go Luke. Luke can't really throw. He can run. I don't know. I don't know what to do for them. You got Keon Coleman telling recruits not to go to Florida State. I mean, I don't know what to do for them. Like, they're going to lose.
Miles and Howard Cross III are going to have field days tomorrow. I mean, they are going to just stomp on that offensive line that Florida State has out there.
Yeah, they are. I told Bill this too. I think I told Bill. I watched them they had a joint practice with the Jags, which they both suck. But I was at that joint practice. Florida State looked bad, and I was telling people like they look bad. I was like, they didn't look this bad though. I was like, dude, they're not gonna be like I think they're projected to win 9 games. They're not winning 9 games. That was way before the season started. I looked at them. I was like, they're probably like a 7-win team, 6-6. But to be 1-7, 1-8. Going in maybe the next week is just crazy. I never would have thought this would happen. But Norvell's safe. He's not going to get fired this year. It's not happening.
So Donovan, before we wrap up this show, because you said you're a USC guy, Lincoln Riley is about to get punished by the Fighting Irish come the 30th of November yet again.
Yes, he is.
Do they fire Lincoln?
I don't think he does. I don't know. That's tough. I have to pick one, huh? I don't think he does.
I'm going to say no.
The president just she's stepping down. She just retired.
Yeah.
So that was today. That just happened. Mrs. Holt, excuse me. So as she did, she wasn't there long, man. USC can't keep a damn president.
Nope.
Or AD. So now they knew that her age was a thing when they hired her. So she's like, I'm old. I don't want to work anymore. I'm a millionaire. Like, I'm 65. I get it. Like, that's when you're supposed to retire, right? At 65. So she's retiring on time. But they kind of came out of nowhere. But I think the new person they hire will be like, okay, I got Lincoln Riley, but he's going to get on the hottest seat in the country next year.
Yep.
And this offseason is crazy because they got the class is amazing they got coming in, and the class they had last year was good. So we'll see. But I'm tired of hearing I'm a young team. I'm tired of hearing we lost by both the coaches, man. I got Coach Peterson and Lincoln both telling me they should be 6-2, and they're not. They got the same record. Well, the USC's better, but I mean, pretty much they're in the same boat, NFL college-wise, right? I mean, like, they're the same to me. Like, obviously, like, it's not Miller Moss's fault. Like, you might go at Jaden, but that's not going to help too much. Like, they're just not closing games, and it's on him, dude. Like the
Right.
play call, he's Zach Taylor, like right
Well,
now.
Jaden is now the starter, isn't he?
Yeah,
He is, but I just don't. I mean, that's fine. Jaden's the starter, but like you got Nebraska, UCLA, and Notre Dame. I would hope they can beat UCLA and Nebraska, but I have no idea. They could lose all three of those games. They can win all three. I have no idea.
Where's the UCLA game at? Is it at the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, it's at the Rose Bowl this year, but they lost. They lost last year.
Yeah, UCLA at that Rose Bowl is.
We did take all their best players last year, though. So we got Humphreys and Kamari Ramsey and their DC. And Lynn's done a solid job. Their defense does look better than last year with Alex Grinch. But, like, they're still not closing games. It'd be nice to have a couple wins, even if they're not going to beat Notre Dame, but Nebraska and UCLA, just to make a bowl game. But if I'm begging to make a bowl game at USC with this talent, I shouldn't have to do that at all.
Right.
So I don't want to go on a crazy rant about it. I really haven't even talked about USC all year because I don't work for Trojans Wire anymore. But I still am a USC guy, and it's just been embarrassing. Like, I think Florida State's worse, but, like, USC is just as bad. Like, because, I mean, if you take away the LSU win, like, he probably would be fired. I mean, that kind of saved his ass, I guess. Like, I don't know. They're just bad. And he's right. They could be what he said record-wise. Should have won the Penn State game. Should have won the Minnesota game. Should have won
a couple of those games.
Because I watched all those games. I'm not box checking scoring those. Like, actually watched these games. But they lost. It's the Maryland game they should have won. There's no reason why. The Washington game, that was only by 5, but they should have lost that game. They actually should have lost by more.
That Maryland loss just killed that season, I think.
Yeah, the Maryland loss killed the season, 100%. I mean, I think the Penn State loss did. But I know Penn State's in the top 10, so you probably would. The Maryland loss put it like nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin. That was it. That was it.
Those guys, I follow all those guys. I'm still close to all those guys. I see their social media when they're posting black pictures on Instagram, just a black screen.
Yep.
If you know a young Gen Z guy, that's how you know it's down bad. Sadness. Yep. Posting Juice WRLD lyrics and captions and Rod Wave. Like, I don't know if Lincoln Riley understands that, but that's not good. Like, that's sad boy era, like, not good stuff. So, yeah, man, like, they got to tighten up. I don't know. He's at Modern Day right now, so I don't know. Bye week, so we'll see. But they're horrible, They're horrible. Not good.
It doesn't break my heart one little bit since I am a Fighting Irish guy, so, you know.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Well, on that happy for Greg and rather not so happy for everyone else note, Donovan, please tell everyone what you're working on, where they can find your work, and where they can follow you, my friend.
Excuse me. I'm trying to work on Dylan Garber's not turning the ball over. That's the third turnover now. Sorry. In the first half, he just fumbled. Jesus Christ, man. Come on, Ethan. But no, actually, Hoosier State of Mind over at Fansided. I've been working over there, and that's why I was really had a, big week with Indiana, big past month really with those guys, and just another big game tomorrow with Michigan at 3:30, another 3:30 midday game. So I'm watching them all. But yeah, I'm over there. Hoosier State of Mind. So check me out over there, and Jags Wire with USA Today Sports, and I'm excited. It's a good week of ball. Thanks for having me on this show. Really appreciate it. I gotta follow you, man, Greg.
Yeah, I'm following you. So
is this your name, Greg Cowboys?
Yeah, at Greg Cowboys. Yeah, on X.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my family's Cowboys fan, so I know a little bit about those guys too. So most of my family, most of my mom's side of my mom's a diehard. She has a shrine of the Cowboys in her room. In her nightstand.
There you go.
But it's like Emmitt Smith, like.
Yeah, right. Well, I would imagine it would be, yes.
I bought her a Prescott jersey. She hadn't even barely worn it.
So. Okay, because you're so young and you weren't around when the Great Wall of Dallas was there. The Alabama center, Brailford, does not remind me of Jason Kelsey. I'm sorry, but he reminds me of Mr. Stepnoski far more than Jason Kelsey.
There you go.
That was a Roger Staubach era?
No. The Great Wall of Dallas was the 90s team.
No,
the 90s team. I didn't know that was their nickname. Yeah. I mean, I was alive. I watched it. I was really young, but I mean.
That was the Great Wall of Dallas. That was.
Oh, yeah. Best offensive line probably in NFL history. I guess.
Something one of them, yes.
One of them.
Larry
yeah,
Allen.
Sure. Larry Allen. He just passed away recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Nate Newton, Mark
Nate Newton.
Stanowski, 2-A,
Gogan.
and Eric Allen, who
had the unfortunate accident, and that ended his days. But
and a career that looked like it might be headed towards the Hall of Fame before
it
that.
was. He was definitely going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, that man,
a Marauder from Central Ohio, HBCU.
Central Ohio Marauder. Yep.
Once again, Donovan, I'm going to take an informal. Yeah.
Let's say follow me on Twitter at Don James Sports too.
There we go. There it is.
Always
There
gotta
it is.
say that for sure. Yeah.
Good. Get that in there at Don James Sports, people. I'll have to tabulate some informal exit polling, but you may have regained your standing as our number one FOTS friend of the show. Once again,
he got my vote because, of course, last week I had to apologize to Brock and Josh because I had said Penn State was going to finally beat that Buckeyes team, and that nightmare came. You know, I was just so stunned when Tyler Warren had more rushing yards than Singleton or Fat Man Allen did.
Yep.
It was just mind blowing to me how nothing stopped Ohio State after Penn State was up 10-0. Ohio State just scored those 2 touchdowns, and that was the ball game right then and there.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Hey, what I will say, I'm sorry I'm plugging myself so much. I will stop talking. I swear to God, but I do have a cool interview coming up with one of my dear friends I've known for a while. Speaking of Dallas, my boy Garrett Gilbert. We got something cooking up. So
nice.
You know, Garrett Gilbert's he's gonna try to go to our side, the media side. You know, he's done with football. Well, if you want to sign him, go ahead, please. But whoever he's played a lot of places, he'll still play. But he's going over to the media side. So I got some interview cooking up with him, and he's gonna be good at. He'll be great.
He'll be very good at the media.
Yep.
He's a smart man.
Yep.
Dad too, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, right. Son of Gail Gilbert. Speaking of Cal, once again, it is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. Everyone who joined us, everyone who watched, who will watch, who has followed this and has enjoyed, I hope, everything we do. I want to thank you all out there for your attention, your talent, and your time. We will do this again in a week.